I'm straight up talking, what is it? Cheddar biscuits?
Cheddar biscuits.
Oh, cheddar biscuits. Oh, I flipped it on us. Yeah,
You are listening to The Bomb Hole.
Bomb Hole Podcast.
It's going to be very hot. It's going to be very uncomfortable for everybody.
The Bomb Hole.
That bitch is crazy.
Okay, here we go. Another bomb hole. Another day. We got BudDiesel, which is the duo of Stony Buds. How we doing?
I'm doing pretty good today, man.
The other half would be myself, Gren Diesel. And we have a very prolific, that's what I'm going to use, prolific.
Big show.
Yeah, guest today. We got Desiree Melancon. How we doing, Des?
We're good. Prolific is kind.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's quite the term.
I've been reading. I got some new words in there. So you're from California, the California kid, they call you.
No, they don't.
Literally nobody's ever called me that in my life.
No one has ever fucking said that to me ever. I've heard everything else maybe aside from the Cali kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Southern California, Riverside, born and raised.
Shouts to Riverside.
Yeah, it's great. I get to go back maybe like 2 or 3 times a year and hang out with my family. My sister's in Redlands. Parents are still in the house I grew up in. Always get like swindled into doing some sort of work or just like, what are we doing? Like, this place is still like sticking together. All right, cool. So.
Sick, and you got some siblings, correct?
Yeah, I have a younger sister who's got 3 kids. I got a brother-in-law and then my brother, and then he's married too with 2 kids. And
nice.
I don't get to see them. They moved to Chicago like a year ago, so.
I see you with your sister just crushing aunt life.
Oh, dude.
How's Aunt Des stack up? Is she?
Hi, Auntie Des! And it's incredible because for so long I was so worried, like living really far away, that they weren't ever going to know who I was and like how am I going to be in their life without really like separating whatever. I live in Oregon, or I live half in Salt Lake City, half in Portland, Oregon. So it's just kind of like figuring out the time to be like, all right, going to SoCal. Doesn't happen that often. So from whenever they were like really, really young, my sister had like a framed photo of our whole family. So every night the girls would kiss all of us goodnight in this photo. And so like that made it so like I am an Auntie Des and they recognize my face, and like so now that they've like instilled this image of me on the girls, and now they're getting older and they can talk, and like thank God for FaceTime.
Yeah.
So cool. I think a kid's world is so small too that you got to think they don't know as many people. So when they meet or they hear about you, they really latch on to that, because I get the same thing.
Totally.
And it's crazy. You FaceTime with them, and it's just like such an experience.
You have a conversation, and it's just
and
like
they're just hyped.
Yeah, they're super sassy. She's got 3 girls, and I don't know how she does it. It seems way too crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the husband, that's
For real.
that's a lot of that's a handful.
Yeah, it's a heavy household.
But so how did you get up to the mountains? Were you Big Bear? Is that where you kind of sharpened your teeth, you could say?
You were mountain high, weren't you?
Mountain high, and it was closer. It was a quicker commute. The first time I ever went, it was like a lessons thing with the whole family. Excuse me, and my mom even went, and it was like Thanksgiving weekend or something, and we all took lessons, and we got boards, and I didn't know, like, my perspective of the world at that age was I was like, I'm from this city. I know there's some other cities. I know that there's like kids who live in Long Beach, and I know that there's a beach, but for the most part, it's like I'm at the house, I play basketball, I go to school, I like do all these other things, and then I go back home. And like, as like just things kind of got sprinkled in there, and then we went snowboarding, and like just we went to Mountain High, and it is like a mini mountain town, it was like nothing I'd ever seen, super cool, and just like, it's the fucking same shit. Life changed immediately. Yeah. Just like, all right, I'm in. Like,
this is my shit.
Yeah. And I think it was just because like I had grown up so rooted in like team sports, but then I did other crazy shit too, where like I did junior drag racing for a long time, and I did karate for a while. I was an inline speed skater. Me and my brother were on like the team, and you like push off each other's butts, and you just like race around the course. Like I did all these weird things, just like looking like, what do I like? What do I like? What do I like? And like, until snowboarding, it was like, yeah, basketball, track, volleyball. But then snowboarding hit, and I was just like,
I kind of wish you grew up and were a drag racer, to be
Yeah,
honest.
drag racer.
That would have been bad fucking ass. Like, pull up to the track, race car.
dude, me and my dad joke about it because we got like a Chevelle in the backyard, and he's like, should we put like let's turn it into like dragster. Let's go. Like, let's just start racing again. I'm just like, it's too expensive. Like, you don't want to go to the track. Like,
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
What age were you when you started riding?
15.
Oh, you were late.
Day one was 15.
Nowadays, if you're not like sponsored by 15, you're like old news.
Totally.
It's crazy. Different era, huh?
Dude, I started at 15 and got hooked up at 16.
Oh, damn.
I was getting free gear the first year just because they weren't used to seeing girls out there, and they're just like, oh, you do this a lot?
Yeah.
Like, all right, here's a jacket, here's some pants, and like, fuck, I think the first, like, I didn't even get, like, we bought a board, and then I got my brother's. The first board I ever owned was a 153 Ride Vista with a hot pink base. Second board was my brother's Rome Artifact twin tip jib board. So transitioned really quickly from like a super stiff directional capped edges board to just straight up this like Rome Artifact. And I'm just like, what's a tail press? Like,
That's where tail press God came out and started shining.
it's how it started for sure. And then I think the third board after that was an Academy. By that time I was kind of like flirting with going to Bear a little bit and like seeing people, and like Mountain High had these like really cool kind of like girl legends too, like Lori Courier. And there's in this time there was a bunch of crews. So there was like the Secret Bench crew that like some kids from Pasadena started, and then there was the Couch Boys crew, and then there was Lori and them had some crazy girl crew, but they would just like flash people, and that's how you had to get into the crew.
Titties out.
Titties out while someone hit the feature next to you. So you had to like flash someone while hitting a feature at Mountain High. And I remember just being like,
That crew's dope.
no, dude, I wasn't down.
This is not
I'm saying that crew's dope.
I mean, and they had huge tits too. They had huge tits.
Really?
And like, yeah.
That's
and,
why
like,
they started the crew, huh? They were
Dude.
like, we gotta show these things off.
dude, and they're
Some
used
bombs.
to, yeah, this was also when like forum culture was a big thing. So I learned everything from online forums.
Oh, yeah.
Where in Mountain High had a forum, and it would like the beef that was on there, just the shit, and that's where you would find the photos of like the fucking like
Yeah.
tits with like
That's
backlip.
insane.
Yeah,
I've
like
never heard of this crew. That's funny stuff.
it was just
What about how did Corey Kronk fit in? He's a Mountain High
a
legend,
Mountain
right?
met him like. I mean, I don't know him at all, but met him. He's sick.
Yeah, so
he's
sick.
sick.
That's
yeah.
funny.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Big fan.
And from what I understand about you, you were way into team sports, but you were getting let down. And when you found snowboarding, it was more something that you just relied on yourself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what helped you maybe fall in love with it.
It was
Wow.
wow, better.
That thing's fun. Yeah, no,
You
that
trying
was,
to-
no, you're quiet.
You
on the
trying to
headphones.
redo that one video? Or
Guy stole his microphone. I'm trying to get the recreation. Yeah.
But yeah, is that maybe why you kind of fell in love with snowboarding?
There was a lot of things. The initial love for it was honestly the challenge to it, where I would like go up there and I learned how to front board before I learned how to go off of like a kicker, you know, like just because they had
You learned
so
how to
many
front board before how to go.
before like being able to actually like link turns really good.
Yeah.
I could front board and board slide the box in the ground, like the flat box.
Wow.
You know, and then I remember when I would go up at nights a lot because I would go after school, and I remember the night session when like they had the rainbow rail, and I was like, I'm gonna no slide the rainbow rail, and like that was like just the I became obsessed with the process of learning tricks at that age, where I was just like, I would see the tricks, like, and I would see other people do it, and I would just be like, I can do that. Like, I see them doing it, I can do it too. So that was something that I fell in love with, where I was like, I enjoy this challenge, and I want to see if I can do it or not. And like, there wasn't, like, the consequences weren't that bad. They weren't big features, so it wasn't like terrible. And then I think early on I fell in love with getting like padded up.
Oh, really?
Definitely,
You
yeah.
used the rock pads.
I still rock
That's
pads.
smart.
Oh, sick.
I straight up film with pads, and
Dope.
I highly
Smart
recommend
move.
that
Yeah.
anybody filming get some sick ass pads.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
It's like
Sick.
it's pointless to not kind
It's
of.
so true. It's really J2 used to do that, and it's such a no one really sees it. You throw
Yeah.
on shin guards.
I run the
whatever pads you need.
The volleyball
pad.
knee pads, because I
Yeah.
heard Bjorn and Marco smash their kneecaps.
Yeah,
It's like
Marco shattered his kneecap just doing a turn and some powder.
So bad.
Yeah,
what I was kind of wondering, though, I wanted to ask, circling back around to that, is like coming from conventional sports, do you think you had like that self-discipline that comes from conventional sports, like the practice mentality more so? Or is that out of line to say?
No, 100%. From a really young age, I was introduced to just succeeding in athletics. What do you do to have to succeed in athletics? You got to follow the rules. You got to learn the rules. You got to show up with a really good attitude, and you got to be super open. And I think that through that, it instilled a lot of like habits that I have that provided for me to get to where I am in snowboarding, but also like in leadership roles, like as I'm entering into like the world of academia, or even whenever I sit down and talk to people at brands or companies, like I am able to like assess situations like where I'm just like, all right, whose team? Like who's on my fucking team right now? And then, like, not that everything is like so like one-sided, two-sided, but it's just because of sport being because of what I did with sports as a child, it taught me all of these skill sets that translated into my adulthood.
Straight up.
that's an interesting way to look at it. That's cool.
People have like this anti-team sports, like individual sport shit, but I come from the same school of thought where it's like you learn a lot of cool shit from team sports about being a member of a crew, or an assist is just as good as a goal, and yada yada yada. We don't need to go down that full wormhole, but I'm with you on that.
Another good thing, you learn how to lose.
Yeah.
Like
up.
that's the most important thing you got to learn as a kid, is just how to fail. And then the second you figure out that, like, all right, I'm about to fail a bunch. Like I'm 8 right now. Like we're about to have a life. Like, and then you get to like move on a little bit. You get to like, get a little bit closer to like those levels of like self-actualization where you're just like, yeah, failure, fuck that.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Exactly. That's chill. Keep it moving.
Instead of just giving up and calling it quits.
Or throwing a hissy fit
just
and being
keep
pissed
going.
off,
Yeah,
and like.
Yeah, you see that with a lot of people that didn't play team sports too. They have a hard time when they don't get a trick or whatever. But it happens to everybody.
You also see it a lot with kids who are fucking only children.
Yeah, straight up.
Or I'm just like, I'll see like the only child syndrome, and I'm just like,
Yep.
gotta get you a brother.
You didn't have the shit kicked out of you growing up, did you?
true.
But thinking back on those times too, I also wanted to kind of ask, like, it was a different era. It was a different era coming up as a girl in snowboarding, and just probably being a girl back then it's a different deal, right? Like, it's not how it is now. It just felt like it was different times, not as progressive as it is now, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it is progressive now.
Yeah, it's not there yet, but
like, I've said this a lot, and it's just kind of like throughout my childhood, I did and always wanted to do everything that my brother did, or that I just wanted to mimic cool things. And I learned early on that I wouldn't get to do the same things based upon the fact that I was a girl. And it wasn't my parents' fault. Like, they did wonders with just like throwing me into shit, like I got to do everything that my brother did. But when it came down to like the actual realization that I wasn't equal or in the same playing field, where it has its benefits, where it's like, oh, she's the girl, we gotta let her come, or oh, this is my little sister, I guess I gotta let her come. But then for me, I had such a hard time with being like, I'm a girl, like, no, there's no fucking way I'm a girl. Like, because if you're a girl, like, I'm too loud to be a girl. I'm way too fast to be a girl. I'm like the fastest motherfucker here. Like, I can beat all the dudes. Like, how am I a girl? And there was just this negative connotation with it. And, like learning, I think I was 12, and it was just like, all right, it's super hot out. You have to play with your shirt on. And I'm like, my brother's shirt's off. Like, I want my shirt off. And it's just like, actually, that's a big deal. Like, you can no longer just like play without your shirt on because there's predators around and you're going to have boobs. I mean, they never really came in, but they were like trying to prep me, like, maybe you're going to get some tits, so you got to wear the shirt. And it was just really hard because I like didn't want that. And I think about, fuck, if I was 19 right now, like, for sure, I would be joining up like this really cool new generation of kids who are just like, we're anti your labels. Like, we're not a gender, we're gender neutral, or even just like fucking just having the courage to like dictate your label and not play by a societal norm that is shoved down your throat from like as soon as you're able to talk.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, like
Yeah. And even it's probably gotten incrementally better. It has a long way to go, but it's like for us as a kid, you're either like heterosexual or like if you're gay, that's a fucking big deal and it's like socially not acceptable. Now it's like there's more categories that it's like you can do whatever, nobody cares and it's great. You know what I mean? It's like
people are a lot more accepting.
Everybody's more accepting. Like nobody gives a shit. Like, yeah, do what you want. Like I don't care who you identify as or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the rules have completely changed and like I love it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I love looking around or like just meeting these kids and it's just like they're just done. They're just like, that shit's whack.
Yeah.
Like I do not need to associate myself with something that's just going to pigeonhole me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, being born a woman in America pigeonholes the fuck out of you. So to just remove that, to put everyone on like a level playing field, like that's what should happen. You know, and it's just like, oh man, I was watching these Serena Williams documentaries, which are sick. Serena Williams, total fucking boss. Like she straight up has a quote in there where it's like, individuals should only be judged off of their accomplishments, not their gender. And this was in regard to someone asking her, how's it feel to be the best female athlete in the world? And she's just like, you mean the best athlete in the world? Because that bitch is the best athlete in the world.
Let's go.
Nobody's done what she's done.
What's the word for that?
Meritocracy.
Meritocracy, right?
I think so, but
It's a new word for me.
Yeah.
I like that.
Just someone, by their merits.
Your merits are what you're
merit.
based off
Got
of,
it.
not your gender. And we're just humans. We're not fucking. Who gives a shit, right? But
Yeah.
I like what Serena's saying, and I think
That's awesome.
she used to date Drake too, I believe, right?
Serena, I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Actually, I heard him rap about her a little bit. So
That's sick.
I don't know. Somebody get fact check that in the comments. Let me
Get
know.
a fact
Yeah,
check.
shouts to Serena Williams. Big motivation.
But then, how does that carry into this? You know, snowboarding specifically is an interesting one to dive into. Fuck it.
So to get into the snowboarding shit, we got to backtrack a little bit. So we have to think about women in sports.
Yeah,
When did women get involved in sports?
I'd imagine that it wasn't that long ago, seeing as though women weren't able to vote that long ago. Like, I'd imagine the sports were probably not before that, right?
It was after. So
Okay.
like that's what's crazy. So suffrage movement, 1920s, they kind of get the right to vote. And then it wasn't until 1972 when Title IX came out. And that was like the official, no person will be discriminated against on the basis of sex. So like this basically made it, and it's publicly funded institutions. So we're talking universities, high schools, elementary schools. Like all of a sudden, like all these institutions have to provide equal opportunity. And there's like 3 ways that they like can implement it. They can do it by like doing the numbers, like, oh, we got 50% girls, 50% boys, we got to offer 50% of sports. Or they do like a survey and they're just like, all right, how many girls are interested in the sports? And like 30% respond interested in sports. So 30% of the budget's got to go to the girls. Like,
Oh, that's how they break that all down.
yeah, and they have 3 different options basically that they can follow. And so like, all right, Title IX happens. So before that, it was girls don't play sports. We have to look at institutional sexism basically, where America is a patriarchal society. We keep women suppressed because before we were men's property. You know, like that was in the Constitution before it got reformed. Like it's straight up just like, we are not our sole individual selves. We got to get married. That way someone can own us and then we can get stuff. What is the typical like stereotype of a woman? You have to be soft, fragile, kind, and feminine. So what are like some adjectives that describe sports?
Tough, gritty.
Yeah. Total opposite of what you just described.
Tom Brady.
basically.
Exactly.
Tom Brady.
So for early America, a lot of men had a really hard time with, well, if you're a woman, how are you going to be an athlete? Like,
Yeah.
it's a contradiction to your existence. You cannot be an athlete and be soft and feminine and kind and, you know, whatever. So before like Title IX and all the reformations, they actually created like their own sports. Like there was this unique form of basketball where they had 6 players and half of the team wasn't allowed to cross the half court line. And the second that they started sweating, they got subbed out.
Oh, wow.
Because they weren't allowed to use their body.
Yeah, they couldn't really sweat.
You're not allowed to sweat.
No sweating. And which
No
is crazy.
fucking sweating. Stop sweating.
Yeah, I'm dripping sweat sitting here.
What's crazy on the world stage, I was reading that in like even as soon as 1900, they were in the Olympics, but there was only like 20 of them. And then even when they're allowed to start voting here in around 1920, so then it started to pick up. But it's just crazy to me that, I mean, on the world stage, maybe they were better than the U.S. back then. I don't know. But it's just crazy to look at that. Because I don't know where I'm even trying to go with this, but
I'm loving it.
it's like the U.S. maybe was even holding it back more than other countries.
Yeah,
I guess what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to me that back then, in other countries, women were allowed to go in the Olympics, but in the States, they couldn't even vote or do anything.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
just kind of madness.
Yeah.
And I just have to assume there must have been so many women just being like, "What the fuck?
Straight up.
Well, I mean, it's
I want to
like,
do something here. I can run. I can do this. I can do that."
yeah, like even I mean, not even on the athletic realm. You think about what happened with like the feminine mystique, and you're just like a bunch of housewives all figured out that they have like crazy depression because they invented the microwave and they don't got shit to do anymore.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
they all end up like they start talking to each other and they're just like, oh, you feel this way too? You feel this way too? Like, fuck, maybe we should like write a couple books. Oh, we're not allowed to write. You know, like
That's just messed up.
and you got to realize like there is an intense history of just suppression for women in America. So the fact that like 2020 is great, you know?
Yeah.
Is it perfect? No. Is it ever going to be perfect?
Yeah.
I honestly think that like by the time like hopefully just like all the boomers die and then like the millennials get in there and we got to get rid of some of the shitty dudes who are really terrible. But for the most part, we're on a decent track, especially like I said with the youth, where they're just straight up like, we're equal.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna show you how much we believe that we're equal by getting rid of this label. You know, not everyone has to do that. You know, like
And there's even parents that from birth got rid of that label too.
Totally.
They don't refer to him or her.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then I mean some clarification for the viewers. Sex is the identity that you're born with. All right? Like if you're born with a penis, you're a guy. If you're born with a vagina, you're a girl. All right? Gender is straight up the societal norms that you are raised with based upon your society and your environment. So gender is subjective to your environment. Sex, you're born with whatever sex you have.
Well,
Interesting.
I'm just going to chime in on a little bit lighter note. Whatever sex you identify with, the male bathroom is a fucking war zone. Okay,
a war zone,
Like
man.
I would, if I would actually maybe base your decision on not having to, like an airport one. It's like fucking 8 rows of people having like diarrhea, and it's
Oh
just
my
like
God.
loud and echo. Was it like that? Just out of curiosity, what is it like that in the
And
women's
the
bathroom?
dudes, they
No.
fart like crazy.
Do they do
too.
the flush and hide it, or do they do the flush?
Dude, yes.
That's a pro tip. I never.
No.
No, we just
There's
let
a
that
name
thing,
for that though.
we let
but
it
whatever.
bark.
Courtesy
We-
flush.
Oh
Courtesy
yeah,
flush.
no,
Oh my
we let
God.
that shit bark,
Dude,
dude.
in the airport bathrooms
Yeah.
that are crowded, it is a war zone. It is,
It's crazy. So I'm just
scared
saying,
to
if
be
you're
in there.
thinking about, what you want to identify with, I would just consider that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
But so
Let's go back a little bit. Just so like we talked about like whatever, how shitty it is to be born a woman in America.
Yeah.
You didn't get to play sports. You didn't get to do a lot of things.
And
Title
you,
IX
you
comes
felt
out.
when you were, I mean, back to yourself, like as you were young, you were feeling personally like
affected by that.
affected.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to act. Because people were telling me I had to be a little girl and I had to act a specific way. For the most part, my parents were really accepting. They let me dress in triple XL long t-shirts with baggy jeans, and I had a crazy bowl cut thing. You know, like I was just straight up like seeping dude out of my pores. And people would see me and just like, you're a cute little boy. Yeah, it was tough because I wanted to just do all the things. And I didn't want my gender to be a talking point, and I didn't want to be the last person picked. Because I was the only girl. And a lot of times I was the only girl, so I was the last person picked, especially on pickup games. Like, basketball is gnarly, you know? And it's just like, I think by the time I hit, like, 14 and was playing basketball with my brother and all of his friends, it's like, you start feeling like the fingers slip, you know? And I'm just kind of like, he just grabbed my pussy. And like,
Really?
yeah. Like, it got to a point where it's just like, dudes just start to get scummy at a certain age.
Yeah.
And you're still a chick trying to hang out with a bunch of dudes. And like, I'm from fucking Riverside, you know? So it's like, I just remember instances where I was just like, he just copped a fucking feel.
Damn.
And I can't say shit. If I say something, I'm
then they
weak.
won't, like, yeah. Fuck.
And that's the thing. Like, I just
sucks.
want to play. And it's like, if I speak up, I'm fucked. If I don't, I can still play. So that's the thing. I didn't say shit. I didn't say shit about a lot of stuff.
Damn.
Like, it took me years to find my voice. And it's because it's fucking scary out there. And you just want to get by. And you're forced to only get by being a fucking woman.
Yeah. And when you're young and vulnerable, there's scummy bros out there, and like, fuck, yeah, I never like put myself in those shoes.
Yeah.
It's like kind of something you don't think about as a dude, I guess. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the only chances of you, I mean, for sure, guys get like assaulted all the time, but like, I feel like there's even some sort of stigma where like a 14-year-old boy, if like some hot 19-year-old chick touched him, be like, I got my dick touched by a hot 19-year-old chick, you know? Like,
they're
they don't,
almost excited about it.
yeah, they don't realize the toxicity involved with it, where it's like, man, I love the era of consent. The era of consent is so cool, and I think it's cleaning up a lot of shit, but a lot of dudes are threatened by it. They don't like it, but, you know, everyone has their own personal preferences. But, so, all right, being a girl, super hard to just exist, because I didn't want to be a girl. So then eventually, I'm like, all right, fine, let's embrace it. So there's a bunch of, like, loopholes where it's like, how do you find your femininity in the realm of athletics, which is considered only for men? And there's something called the female athlete paradox, you know, where you're trying to learn how to be all these masculine traits that aren't even, they're only masculine because our society dictated them to be. So you're just trying to learn all these like beneficial traits to being a powerful young individual. And at the same time, you're like, all right, so I want to come off as feminine still. So maybe I'll wear a little bit of pink, or maybe my outfit will have something else. My first snowboard, hot pink base. You know, everyone's going to know I'm a girl. I got a hot pink base. Like, I remember even just like the eras of me filming when I was younger, tight ass pants. Like, and like that had something to do with like the Hesh culture too. But like, for sure, I was like, this is sick. Like, I look kind of feminine, and like Holden at the time, you know, just like was able to embrace this silhouette of something where I'm just like, fuck yeah, I'm feminine, but I'm doing this like badass thing. I'm snowboarding.
That's interesting to think about. That's cool.
Yeah, and the dudes were wearing the tight pants right there with you, too.
Yeah, they sure were.
You know, it's maybe tighter, some of them, too.
Yeah,
which
definitely.
is an interesting one.
Yeah.
And when you got into snowboarding, you were all in too, because I remember reading in 11th grade, you took your portrait.
Oh
your
my
board.
God,
That's a
yeah.
true story.
Dude, it's a true story. So I did my
For
senior
class
portrait,
portrait, yeah.
senior portrait junior year. And so you take them junior year for your senior year. So I do all these portraits, and I'm like, oh, I look so cool. And it was with the Rome board, the
Artifact.
and it was painted like a watermelon on the top sheet. I did some like sick spray paint to it. Then I got the photos back, and I showed my friends at the time. Like, I think I like messaged like a photograph of the photograph through like MySpace or something. And I think my friends were like, yo, that's whack.
Were you the only one that snowboarded in your school? Or?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they were like, what the fuck?
There was like a group of like 5 kids who went snowboarding too, but it's just like shit just fucking fell apart in high school. Like, so but yeah, there were some kids who snowboarded.
Was that printed in the yearbook then? It came out?
No.
Oh, you pulled it.
I burned every copy.
Because they said it was
well,
whack.
no. So you don't like.
Oh, these are 4 other people.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
your senior portraits, you like gotta hire a photographer.
Yeah,
Like, your
okay.
school doesn't do
you
it.
took it, but you never submitted it to the school.
Yeah.
I see.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I'm pretty sure I burned every copy, which I fully regret. I want
I
that.
would love to see that photo.
It's incredible. My hair's all weird,
Yeah.
like poofy, but
I bet
like
it's great.
kind of curled. I'm wearing some like brown t-shirt. I remember. I don't know. So yeah, that photo exists.
We got to find it somehow.
So let's-
somewhere.
gone.
It's gone.
So then we're fast forwarding. I'm just going to go to my first memory of you. And we're jumping all over the place, but who gives a shit?
Who cares?
Yeah. I just remember I was in Welch's or government. You're on the way up to Govey. And I want to say you're like Dirks and Hottie maybe, or somebody, or maybe with Harrison, and I was with Dirks. And I don't know. I just have really early memories of seeing you at Hood, or in Oregon, like maybe even before you were a digger. I don't know. Probably like you were probably like 18 or something like that. 19.
So the problem is like the Hood shit. Just like it's like
let's okay.
Hood is like another reality for me. Like I have life, and then I have like life on Mount Hood. So if I was for sure, I was either with Dirks or Jared or Harrison.
Yep,
100%. Chance I could have been with Scott, but maybe not. No, and then I don't know. Like the early years, especially like the ones where I was like still in high school and flying to Oregon to visit Jared and like doing all like just becoming like this person where I'm like, I got to go to Oregon. I got to go to Mount Hood in the summer. Like that's how you make it. I had like a list of all the things I had to do to like kind of be a pro snowboarder where it was like Hood in the summer. And I started doing that really young. So like, I don't remember meeting you. I remember when we got close, but like, I don't remember the initial, like, this is Chris.
Very uneventful.
Very uneventful.
Very forgettable person.
Very forgettable person, Chris.
Yeah. It's just not even worth remembering.
I literally don't remember ever meting you. No, that's fine. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
What's this podcast called again? What are we doing?
What am I doing right now?
And I feel so bad about it too, but I don't remember the first time. But
the way you described Hood is like this bubble of awesomeness. Just dive into that for me.
Oh my God, it was like the birth of individuality.
Okay.
You know, and like I try to think about this question sometimes where I'm just like, when did I become myself? When did I find who I am and what I stand for and what I represent? You know, you're always like adding things to it and learning other things. But for me, it was entering into this realm that was 100% my own, even though it was, you know, it was the first time going to camp. Summer camp changed my fucking life. Put it on an ad. Like, went to Wendell's the year after I went snowboarding for the first time. And was just straight up like, I'm hooked. I'm going to the summer camp that's in Oregon, you know, and my family, like I only know my immediate family. So the idea of someone leaving too, my mom's just like, you're going to go where? You're going to get on a plane, you know? And like, I remember when she walked me through the security to sit at the gate with me when I was 15. And she's just like, you're going to go to this summer camp. And I went there, and I just remember you get picked up in a van. Everyone's wearing all these really cool clothes. I'm dressed like trailer trash that just walked out of fucking Tilly's. Like, Riverside, low-waist hugging jeans, streaks in my hair. Like, so...
Swag.
Is this when you went in as a camper?
As
Swag.
camper.
As a camper,
Yeah.
That experience is insane when you get picked up in the van. You're like, and these people...
Yeah, and like...
You're like, wow.
It's crazy. So, like, you meet all these people, and, like, I met these girls that actually, like... kind of stayed consistent throughout my snowboarding life. Like I met Liza Matrani.
Oh yeah, sick. I remember Liza. Yeah.
And then this girl, Allie Carroll, who rode for Solomon for a while. I met Nikki Schlechter. I met this chick, Mitra, who's famous on Instagram now and super hot.
Yeah,
like,
Mitra.
It's just, you meet these people. And then that same week, I met Harrison and Scott. Or I knew Scott from Mountain High, actually, the winter before. But it's just, it fucks you up. And you're in this place with no parents. You got these people called counselors who are like, they're 18 supposedly, and they're glorified babysitters who are so fucking like probably baked out of their minds, just obsessed with snowboarding and skateboarding. And you're a kid and you're literally just like mind blown. Just like, I can do anything. I can skateboard right now. And you're a girl at this summer camp too. And they're just like, you're a girl, let's get you a skateboard. You're a girl, you're on the snowboard. Like, it was like kind of the first time too where I was just like, it doesn't matter if I'm a girl here, except when you like check out the dudes. You're like, all right, cool, summer camp dudes. Like, you literally went, like, it was insane. And like, my brother wasn't there, my sister wasn't there, my parents weren't there, and none of like my like friends were there either. And I had a really hard time with friends. So like, to be there and to be like, who do I want to be? Like, in a way, I felt like that on the bus where I'm just like, what is my identity that I'm going to introduce to all these kids? Because I want to fucking be best friends with all of them. Yeah. Because snowboarding is so sick. And it's like, you know, like you get a little bit less self-conscious and you cool off eventually. And then you just go snowboarding. And then whoever you're hiking the box with is your new best friend or boyfriend. And that's the thing. I'm hiking an S box with Harrison Gordon. We're fucking dating a month later.
Shout
Yeah, but,
Shouts to Harry G.
Yeah, big dog.
but it's just, it's so crazy how easy it is to just be like, I love doing this activity, and you're outside and you're hiking or sweating, you're learning something, and it's such a shared experience. And it's so easy to share this mutual emotion with someone else who's doing it, you know, and it's incredible. So I have this incredible like bonding experience at a summer camp, and then I go home to Riverside.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get into is like that little bubble also creates, it's like almost steroids, because you're from Riverside, you might go home, you might have some recreational weekend warrior border friends, you know, but then they take people from Massachusetts, from East Coast, West Coast, they all go to Mount Hood and they're all obsessed with snowboarding. And then all of a sudden it's just like this like ball of like obsession. And also throw in the fact that real life doesn't really exist. Bills, like life, your shit, you just go snowboarding. Life is so simple. And it's like, and that little combination of things is like magical, I think, for why Mount Hood's so sick.
Totally. And like you're kind of touching point on like the after years of like being an employee up there.
Yeah.
Where it like, that was like, yeah, all right, so you're a camper and then you go home and you're just like, all right, now I know where I need to be every summer.
Yeah.
So I think I logged 14 summers in a row.
Holy shit.
Damn.
At least showing up. You know,
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
full summers, like more, what I would like classify as more than 2 months. I think I got 11. And so it's like, I just knew that like, all right, that's what I'm doing every year, no matter what. So then going through the jobs. And for me, it really kicked in when I got hired at High Cascade as a digger. And that's when it's just like, I don't even know. Like sometimes I think about it. I don't even know what life was like before that, where I'm like, before that, I was like still really bad at snowboarding. Filming was still so experimental. Like your crews, like people would just like show up and leave. Like you kind of had like consistent people, but then not really. And then you get to camp, and man, like once again, mind blown, because all of a sudden, like I have best friends who are obsessed with trying to figure out how to do this in the more creative way too, where like we're obsessed with filming video parts and we're obsessed with learning the new tricks once again, and then also just having a good time. So it's like, and that's I call it the vortex, where like your rent's paid for, your food's covered, like you are on a glacier with 40 of your closest friends and you're just loving life. And you're learning a bunch about yourself. You're learning about a bunch about the other people around you. And it's not real. Yeah. It's not real life, you know, and to leave it was so hard. Like, I think it was something that I really attached to for a lot of years, because it provided a sense of stability. It provided a place for me to progress at snowboarding, a place to feel safe, you know, rent free, didn't have to have a real job. You made a little bit of money doing it. And then just, I remember when kids would be like, I'm not going this summer. Like, I'm over it. It's whack. Like a lot of my other friends too, like they phased out of it. They got burnt out. And every year I was just like, summer's my favorite time to snowboard. Mm-hmm. Like it still is my favorite time to snowboard. Mm-hmm. Fucking love the Mount Hood Glacier. There's nothing like it. And then, it didn't last forever. I would say it's nothing like it used to be now. For sure.
Yeah, that did we dig together? We did, I think.
We did,
yeah,
1 year.
Sure. 1 year, yeah.
Yeah.
That bond is insane. The 40 people, all or whatever I don't know how many diggers there are, but just every day doing manual labor, Groundhog's Day, working hard, making shitty money, but like there is a bond there that is like rock solid. That's pretty special too.
Totally. And even the skill set that I learned from digging, you know, showing up there, I had to beg for this job. For some reason, High Cascade was not down to hire me. And I like kind of was just like, I knew Corey was the head digger. So I'd send him all these things. And I'm pretty sure I sent him like a PDF with like, this is me. These are the things I like. This is my favorite song right now. Like, I fit in with you guys. And I had just buzzed my head. So I'm like, I look fucking scary and I'm loud. Hire me.
That's what it took to get in there?
Dude, so much. And fucking Corey, bless his heart, he was just like, honestly, come to Mammoth Super Park. And like I show up at Mammoth Super Park and he's like, carry these salt bags. And I'm like, I can carry salt bags. Carry these salt bags. And a week later, he's like, yeah, like you can have the job.
You're
and
down.
I'm like crying tears of joy when he calls me too, where I'm like, this is my fucking chance. Like, because everyone knew it back then too. If you got a job at High Cascade, you could be pro.
Yeah, straight up.
Straight up. If you got in at High Cascade, you could be pro. So it's like, I was just like, I will die. Like, and like I had already done like the Wendell shit. I got banned from Wendell's for like a year. Like they had this like stigma where it was like Wendell's was like sketchy, like skiers, all this shit. And then High Cascade was like, Scott Stevens, like Resident Strout, like Chris Grenier.
We were elitist though. You definitely were like fucking High Cascade's better, bro. Always when you were a kid, for sure back then.
Well, I mean, I was never a High Cascade camper.
Yeah,
Wendell's camper.
Yeah, I was a Wendell's camper way back in the day.
Yo,
you were a camper?
I went to camp. Dude.
How old are you?
Oh, I went to camp.
He was born in 1906.
I went to
think.
camp
Wow,
in,
he looks
I want to say 91 and 92, probably.
How are
Wendell's.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
real quick, did you have the Switch Mickey back then?
No, I was a kid going to camp. I was just like her. I mean, she explained my experience.
Yeah, some
you
of
know?
these campers, I see them busted, man. I don't know.
But all right, so getting back to the digging thing. So like I get the job and I show up to camp. I got a fucking buzzed head and a bunch of random the rookie car that we got separated in the first years. So the first year car is like me, Johnny Brady, Harry Hagen, Brandon Hobush. Fucking there's one more. I can't remember who else it was. But it was just like an insane first year crew, where these dudes became my boys. And then like the older guys became my boy. Like Ted was there, you were there, like Chip was there, like, and your days suck. Your days are fucking terrible, or your mornings are terrible. Maybe that's it. So like you get up, crack.
You get to shred after, right?
Yeah, we boarded so much back then.
You
like
get good quick.
we got. I mean, except I kept getting hurt though too. Like I would always I separated my AC joint. I like fractured my ankle. Like the first year, I remember trying to do a 1-footed board slide, and then that dictated my trick selection for the rest of my career.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, you see me unstrapped? No, leave that to other people. But so digging creates an insane work ethic.
Yeah.
Especially one that like corresponds really well with filming.
Yeah.
Because you get adjusted to the elements, and fuck, I'm such a fair weather kid from Cali. Like all of a sudden I'm in like the Oregon climate and I'm just like, oh, my hands are cold. Fucking like, are you ghost lifting? Like, are you like pick up the fucking rail? And it's like you learn quick, and then also it's like you look around and you're just like, all right, how many people are complaining? Nobody. We don't complain. We talk shit, but we don't fucking complain. And then who's not working right now? You look around, a couple of people aren't working, and those are the people that are getting like bitched at and yelled at. So it's like, all right, I'm always gonna work. What do you need? I'm moving. And it was also an era of like, it's cool to ask questions. Learn to ask the questions. And so I'm just like, what do I do with my hands? Help me. And everyone was so fucking cool. Like that I can't like pay for an experience that taught me that shit. You know, no one can. And then that just immediately translated into filming video parts. And like time and time again, like girls would ask me, it's some guys too. They would just be like, what do we do? What do we do? Start digging a ride. Like right now you're soft. You need to figure this shit out. Like, let's get some calluses on your hands, and like, it's fun to snowboard, but it's really fun to work hard too.
Straight up. It totally transfers into filming a video part because, you know, you see a lot of people get sponsored. They get really good at riding park. And then they're okay, it's time for me to film a video part. I got to build a backcountry jump. I got to build a 6-foot tall cheese wedge out of nothing, out of the snow here. And so like, if you're a digger, fuck, that thing goes up quick.
Yeah.
But if you never wielded a shovel in your life and you never had a job in your life because you got sponsored when you're 13, like half these fucking people we're out there with, then you're going to have a hard time and you're going to learn quick.
Yeah.
Huh, Buds? Buds isn't...
I learned how to ghost lift real fast.
You ever
Bud's is like, fuck you guys. I gotta push a button.
I gotta keep this finger good, man. I can't put two hands on this
We
rail.
can't shovel. I know a lot of photographers with that mindset. They gotta protect those hands.
What about the photographers that look at angles for
that's
6
That's
hours?
what it is. You get there and you're like,
Scouting for 6 hours.
you get to like a down bar and you're just like, all right, we got a couple hours of work to do. He's like, I gotta find my angle. I'm like, it's not that fucking hard. Just walk over
It
the
might
field
take me
over
4
there.
hours to find this angle.
Like it's a down bar.
You're gonna shoot at fisheye in the middle of the stairs. You're not finding shit.
And
right now.
every rail pretty much has the same variety of angles too. You know what I mean? You know what angle you do them
Or
on.
the best is when you pull up to the down bar and the photographer's just in the car. I'm good. You're just like, fuck.
I remember talking to Andy Wright. I was back in the day. I was like, Andy, why aren't you shooting with Breezy right now? He goes, can't eat steak every night for dinner.
That's a true story.
Oh, shouts to Andy Wright though.
Shouts to Andy.
Sick.
All right, well, let's keep it moving. So then you started filming for Think right after Digging, right?
Yep. So Digging provided kind of the acceptance into Think, and it was I think it was after my second year Digging that I got in because I was still doing a little bit of Peep Show, all women's film, started by June Bongjan and Estee. Really fun, whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember after Digging, I was living in Bend at the time, went and did a downtown throwdown in Seattle, broke my tailbone, and was just on the couch with a broken tailbone, like stressing. Yeah, like had to lay on my belly. And it was just, I took a dick right up my ass. Just
A donkey dick?
Donkey
Really?
dick.
Okay, yeah, you're going to want to clarify that.
I mean, you might even want to clarify the donkey dick part of it too. I mean, the whole thing.
We
Right?
gotta just spell this out for
There's
people.
a lot of laymen here.
I took a dick right up my ass and my tailbone broke. Wow.
But then you're like, donkey dick. You know how many people don't know what that is?
Yeah, what's better, a dick or a donkey dick?
I mean, we might actually just want to explain what's going on here.
You want to explain to the listeners what a donkey dick is so
right.
they know.
All right, so you got a down rail, and then you have a flat. You know, so it's not a kink rail. It's not a down, flat, down. It's just a down with a flat, but the flat's usually like pretty short. So we call it just like a little dick, a little donkey dick. So I went front lip, slipped out on my heels halfway down, but had some momentum and just cleared the rail with my, this is me, and then this is the dick, and just tailbone.
Damn.
And it's just like,
That must have sucked.
and there's a bar right next to the fucking rail jam, so I just like waddle into the bar, and I think it was Carson Schubert was there maybe, and I see Carson Schubert. I was like, I just broke my tailbone. He's like, you're biking in? And I'm just like, hey,
Yes, please.
someone drive me home. And then I drove back to Bend and then went to the hospital the next day.
Jesus
But so
Christ.
that was great, actually. So I'm on the couch, stressed out, really sad. I had just gotten closer with Lucy at camp, and he was the filmer for Think at the time. And Ted and I got real close. Just these people, snowboarded with them so much, and they all made me such a stronger rider. And they had kind of joked about it, where they're just like, "Oh, you could film with us, like you could film with Think." And like Jess had a ton of success with Think, you know, like opening part in was it left brain or was it right brain?
Can't remember.
One of the brains. So like, and I was always such like a fan of Jess and.
Just Kimura.
Yep, Jess Camara. And then I texted Lucy and I was just like, yo, do you think I could get in Think? And he's like, yeah, you got to ask Bertner. So I had like composed this, or no, I Facebook messaged Bertner. And it was just like so unprofessional, but just kind of like, hey man, like I really want to film with you guys. And he was just down. Like emailed me back like a day later, I think. I didn't even have to sweat it. And he was just like, yeah, like we're fucking down. And then I didn't hear from anyone for a while. And I remember being like, I think I can get sponsors, but maybe not. Who knows? And then I got a call 2 days before my birthday in December from Lucy. And Lucy was just like, you want to go on this trip? Like, you're in. And that was like kind of when I knew like, oh, fuck, like I'm filming with Think. Like, this is sick. Mm-hmm. So
That was a sick part. Was that the year you got women's video part
Yep.
and rider?
Nope.
Just video. Okay, that was the video part here.
Yep.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part was awesome.
And this was your
Thanks.
first time before it was only women cruise?
Before no. It was, I mean, man, the beginning of it, like, I was never with girls. I was with Harrison
really? Yeah,
and,
it's
like,
just how you-
Max
yeah,
Spinell,
true,
like,
Yep.
Mammoth Kids.
Along with your friends and
Yep.
okay, that makes sense.
From a woman's perspective, what's the difference between filming in a woman's crew and filming in a man's crew, from your perspective?
Honestly, the hormones,
Yeah,
straight up.
straight up.
Like, and
Okay.
I have varying opinions about this because I firmly believe that every individual is different.
Yeah.
And regardless of if you're male or female, filming with people is an experience.
Yeah.
So straight up, all girls crew, for sure there's more hormones, and like you hear the horror stories, you fucking look around, like we all have like our past instances and stuff. But like as far as it goes, like right now, if I'm like filming, I don't give a fuck if you're a dude or a girl. And like if you're like, and one of my favorite things actually is to see people like film their first years, and like be around for that, where I'm just like, kind of like, you need this, like, let's go. You're fine. Like, and like, the girls adapt in such an incredible way.
Mm-hmm.
It's different than the guys, and it takes a little bit longer, and you need a little bit, I do think that women need more resources to actually be successful in filming. And if I think that if that's a sacrifice that has to get made for a couple of years, like, fuck it. Let's give the ladies some fucking resources so they get some sick ass clips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of resources are we talking?
I'm straight up talking, what is it? Cheddar biscuits?
Cheddar
Oh, cheddar biscuits. Oh, I'm referring to what you would refer to as cheddar biscuits.
Wow.
Yeah, like the...
Shout.
I got him.
That was amazing.
Son, where'd you find this?
Nice work, Des.
Oh, that was
You got cheddar biscuits with his own.
I kind of queued it up, but I didn't know if she was talking about like help, like physical help.
That's what I
but
was
yours-
actually. I was thinking more like you need more help at a spot or
Yeah.
something. But I like the cheddar
You're
biscuits.
taking
is a
just
better
straight
answer.
resources,
But I do
more
think-
ability to get out there, and
But all of it.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, money doesn't just show up. You got to find the loopholes for the money. But totally, the resources of people helping,
Yeah.
having someone show you the ropes,
Yep.
having a crew,
Yeah.
like, so instrumental
Yeah.
to success while
Yeah.
filming.
Well, I have something I want to say that has no science behind it at all, and it goes back to when you were learning kickflips the other day, and I think it's the thing that makes it harder for women. It's like, men, we are idiot Neanderthals. Okay, we are idiot Neanderthals. So like, if we want to do a trick, it's just like, I just go like hollow head, and I can like front board the kink, right? Like, and I feel like, I don't know if this is sexist or not, but I just feel like you guys have more self-preservation than us. Like, where it's like, it's just like, you're like, well, I could actually, where we can just kind of like be like, front board, like, and just do it. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like you guys are like, whoa, this is like a little bit unsafe, or, and that's probably, and who knows if but that's kind of how I view it. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I 100% agree with you. I think that there's other things too aside from just that, though, because like we think about, we walk back, or we take a step back and look at how women are raised again, the things like you're taught to be aware, like self-preservation, also don't get dirty, don't fall down, putting your body on the line is not a natural instinct. With men, especially with skaters, man, I swear I feel like it's just like not a lot going on up there, and they're just straight up like board, trick, sick. And they do the crazy, but also that's like that's such a stereotype. Look at me talking shit on stereotypes. And now I'm gonna stereotype the skater guys. But
it's true a lot, though. You can't really discredit that.
there has to be, okay, so if we could have a little bit more of an evolved conversation about this, there has to be something different in people who pursue action sports. There's something off with your fear mechanisms, your ability to assess risk, and your willingness to take that risk. You're different. We're all different, and it's just like mommy and daddy were like, you're so special growing up. Like, no, actually, I have no problem saying that, like, a lot of our friends, or you, like, even you, like, everyone is a very gifted, special individual who is able to adapt their bodies and translate like a form of dance with a piece of wood strapped to their fucking feet. And I think that's magical. It's fucking cool as hell.
That was poetic.
Oh.
I like that. That was awesome. I always liked how people, I mean, let's be honest. Like, I love snowboarding. I love skateboarding. I romanticize about it. Like when you put it like that, it's like, that's kind of what it is, you know, even though sometimes in order to get it like that, you got to go idiot Neanderthal.
I almost think it's more like
We're backtracking.
No, you're right.
I think you almost just black out, though, more so than Neanderthal. It's like you can shut off your mind but still go through the mechanism because you practice it so many times.
It becomes second nature.
You basically black out and it happens, and there it is.
I think you're talking about a little thing we call flow state.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And once you hit it, your brain's not even, it's just happening.
And it's addictive.
Yeah.
Flow state is actually addictive.
Straight up.
Great thing to get hooked on.
Yeah.
Actually.
100%. I'll tell you what, buds, we almost forgot an important little Sector 9, didn't we?
Yeah, Sector 9.
Yeah, Sector 9.
Wow.
Do you know what sector we're talking about, Des?
Could it be Name That Video Part?
Wow, she's right. Let's take it away. Okay, we're doing it. First of all, I want to give a shout out to last week's answer. If you didn't know, it was Aaron Bittner, Moment of Truth. First part, one of my favorites.
That was a good one.
And I announced the winner. I forget your name on Instagram, but you got a prize pack coming your way. But now it's time for Desiree to show up. How are you feeling, Des?
Pretty bad, honestly. Like,
do you watch all the movies, though? Are you one of those people, or do you not?
it depends on the video. I watch everything.
We'll see.
You want to do a side bet? I bet she's gonna get it.
You
want to bet against
I don't
me?
know what it is yet.
I bet I'm not going to get it, so...
You can't bet against yourself because you can throw that bet.
No.
I can.
Fuck.
You want to bet me?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Here we go.
You know what you're doing.
You ready?
Yep.
Needles and pens.
Ooh, that's quick.
You got to know that. That's one of your friends.
I know.
You want it again real quick?
No, I know the song. Oh, this is so embarrassing. I don't got it.
Let's say when we were talking about the early days of Mount Hood, his name might be in that hat.
Derek's?
Yes.
What video?
These days.
These days. Fuck, I'm such a dick.
Justin Meyer. Well, I'll tell you what. Your prize was...
But, I mean, I don't know what day of the week it is.
Exactly.
But,
Exactly.
I don't either.
fuck.
Sick. Well, the prize we're going to give you for not guessing it is that bomb hole mug as seen on video.
Perfect, thank you.
And then this one is for the viewers. Comment on the post related to Desiree's podcast. Coming at you. Focus up. That one's too easy.
Dude, all I heard was like statics and beeps. I mean...
Don't say it if you know it. You guys both not know that? No idea.
No
Okay.
idea. Hard
That
time
one,
for the
I'm going to go with
listeners.
no idea.
Buds never knows.
I
We should get a poll going.
Dude, I knew Bittners.
We should get a
dude.
poll on the side of the screen.
I knew Bittners. I knew Marcos.
No, you didn't.
You
You
do?
no, you didn't know Bittners. You go, was that in an FODT movie?
No. Come on, dog.
All right, let's keep it moving, Des. Hey, Des, what do you want to talk about? Let's
What
just.
do I wanna
I've
talk
never
about?
really done. Just put the ball in her
That's
court.
true. Hello?
Are you still in the garage?
Yeah, we're recording right now live. You're now on the show, I guess.
Hi, Pat. Do you have a
What?
question
You
for
leave it?
us?
You gotta
Do
give
have
us a question.
for us?
You hung up. Oh, you have a question for the bomb hole and Desiree.
No, well, yeah, I do have a question for the bomb hole. Stone, where are your photos?
Damn it!
Is going to get any coverage unless you stop just sitting around shooting the shit all day.
Whoops, my bad, dude. It's been pretty fun shooting the shit, though. No, they're coming, dude. They're coming.
All right, perfect. I'll let you get back to it. Give me a call.
All right, peace.
That was voice of Snowboarder Mag, Pat Bridges.
Calling me out.
Pat the Brown Eye Bridges calling out Eastone for not submitting his winter photos.
It's a pretty small stack. I'm not going to lie.
I think I might have a bigger stack than you this year.
Probably.
Diving back into this conversation, I just think it's interesting. You know, I think with men and women snowboarding, it's obviously come a long way from you know, you look at like the Roxy ads that I grew up looking at, and it's like, you know, objectifying women, and it's obviously like people are conscious of that more so now than they used to be. There's a lot of things we could talk about within that, but what I was going to talk about is within the snowboard community. You know, there tends to be groups of guys like our friends. We're sitting around a campfire per se, talking about our perspective. We're validating our opinions about what we think, and we're not often challenged by the other side. And when I think inversely, women a lot of times are sitting around campfires talking about their perspective about snowboarding, and it's not challenged. It's all like validated their opinions and to fueling the fire to each side's opinion. But there's never people from each campfire coming together and saying, hey, like, let's talk about it from most perspectives. And that's what I like doing, is like, I like putting myself in your shoes and thinking about like, okay, as a snowboarder, as a woman snowboarder in 2020, what are the things that I'm not thinking about when I'm thinking about women's riding? You know, like,
I mean, I love it that you think that, even because I think that one of the biggest problems is that within our industry is men don't think about that. They assume to know everything about women. They assume to know everything about the industry, and they also assume to know everything about the individuals involved. The problem is like, guys kind of have always banded together, and they have their opinions, you know, and we're just existing in this world that was already created. So we can talk about outdated marketing, you know, like if you're straight up a dude asking like in 2020, what can I do to make women's existence more comfortable? Like straight up, we need to step away from over-sexualization. We need to put more power in the voice of women and the actions of women. And then also women just have to be integrated across the board. So it's like so this is the shit that's interesting with snowboarding is, all right. Yeah. So we're going to backtrack a little bit. Why is shit the way that it is? Why is our industry overrun with mediocre snowboarders who capitalize on an action sport but actually don't do it well? Every other action sport has a fucking barrier for entry. All right. So if you want to be a pro skateboarder, you have to be able to ollie. If you want to be a pro surfer, you have to be able to catch a wave. You know, you can scroll through Instagram and you can see there's like 70 professional snowboarders who are women on Instagram. And I'm just like, who the fuck are you?
But they're just calling themselves professional.
Self-proclaimed.
Right? Yeah,
and
self-proclaimed.
And everyone has that right. You know, but from someone who's like sacrificed like 17 years of their life to being in the industry, I look at these names and I'm like, what video part did you film?
Yeah.
What did you have to do to go pro? Mm-hmm. What is pro to you? You know, and that's the fun, that becomes the fun conversation where there is no barrier for entry with snowboarding. You get to wear the clothes, you show up at the place that has snow, you stand with the gear, you strap in, you get a photo standing there, and it's just, oh man, our society is obsessed with the sexualization of women, and I'm not gonna lie, women are hot. It's so sick to see like beautiful women, especially whenever they do cool things, but then there's like the facade of Instagram where they've monetized and like are projecting this lifestyle. And I'm straight up like, when I see my peers who are pro snowboarders and that's the thing too, like Instagram, I got like 12,000 followers. These chicks got like 70K followers and they're professional snowboarders. And I'm just like, oh, you're hot. And that breaks my heart because I'm just like, the thing should be about the things, you know. Snowboarding should be about the snowboarding. And
do you work super hard to like plug your gram and do it 24/7 and get your numbers up?
Not down.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where your numbers would go if you did, though.
I tried, and my numbers didn't go anywhere.
They didn't.
No, and then I just have this theory that because I do not post enough photos of my body or my face in an acceptable manner, people just aren't really that down, which I don't mind. Like, I do my things, and if people enjoy it, sick. If they don't like it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I I've done a lot of self-work to get away from the infatuation with trying to grow my social following, because I do think also the industry is separated a little bit from it as well, where it isn't 100%. As important as it was like 2 years ago. And they're kind of just like, all right, yeah, you're still doing things to ingrain yourself in the culture. We back that. And I also think because of the women's movement, they don't really have a choice, you know? And I think that right now we do live in a time where if you're a brand and you're not sponsoring a female, that's a bad look.
Yeah, that's a bad look.
Yeah.
It's a bad look, and you can be ostracized for it. You can, people...
Super bad look.
Super bad look. And then we have the realm of, like, the token girls, and, like...
Yeah.
Sad to say, I'm a fucking token girl. That's not a good look, you know? That's
the one major thing when I take myself and I put myself in a woman's shoes nowadays, you look at the slots on the teams. There's simply not very many slots. Like, there's not... If you look at, I don't know I'm just saying off the top of my head with no research, like maybe 8-1 or something like that,
8 men for 1 girl?
Yeah, like on a pro team, or maybe even some 0, or some are less skewed. Like, I think Vans has a pretty that one's a little more balanced.
Very diverse. GNU always had a really diverse team, but Lib didn't really have any women, but I think they just started sponsoring a couple girls. Burton always had really equal representation.
Yeah, Burton does a good job.
I'm gonna challenge you on a question about the influencer chick though, but do you see it as a benefit, the fact that there's an influencer chick with however many followers, big following? They're potentially bringing a lot more women, introducing them into snowboarding on a broader scale. Maybe they're not accepted for the accolades on the core. They're not as respected, but you could say that they're doing a part to like bring more women into snowboarding. And for that little part of it, I think is kind of dope.
I think that's cool too, but I think that's just I would love to see the numbers.
Yeah.
Because if they're doing that, that's fucking awesome. And I hope that is what's happening. I hope that they're reaching this really wide audience where little girls are inspired, because that's really cool. But I think there's a lot of toxicity involved with the influencer culture.
Yeah.
Where, like, for me, I look at a lot of influencers right now and it's just all about the bod and it's all about the face and it's all about sexualization. And by all means, like, if you are an individual who has figured out how to fucking live your life through monetizing your body on the internet, fuck yeah. Like, that is straight up just like the power of choice. That is feminism at its roots. The right to choose what you do.
Yep.
My problem is whenever the brands come into play.
Yep.
Where the brands are selling women's bodies. And that's the shit where I'm just like, you can't fucking just hire a hot girl who doesn't do the thing when you're an action sports brand.
Well, the whole skate moss movement. I think that's dope.
Corey, I mean, you can think it's dope or you can think it's whack. And everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Good. That's cool, And as a feminist, they should be able to do whatever they want. And if that's what they want, that's rad,
Yeah, and like I mean, I don't really have a problem with, like, obviously I can't have a problem with anybody. Like, I'm living my own life.
Yeah.
I have these opinions just
their own.
Based off of viewership, like viewing it, like looking at things. I would way rather see some sick ass fucking skate girl. I don't care how hot she is.
Yeah.
Like, someone who's like filming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, you deserve like the 130K followers because what you're doing is fucking sick. You're like ripping.
Yeah.
But I think that once the body comes into play, it just offers this like perk, for for men to goggle at, or women to goggle at
both
too.
Women, but then it's an interesting one. We had a pretty funny conversation about, like, you were talking about how your favorite author has like 2,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And there's the chick whose butt cheeks are out, has like 3 million, right? And I was like, do you want me to explain that to you? I'm like, I can explain that to you. I'm like, we're men, okay? If we're going through Instagram and you see an author with like a very long, well thought out paragraph and like a picture of a fucking tree, that's great. Then right below it, you see butt cheeks. We're just like back to the idiot Neanderthal, just like boom, boom, double tap, keep it moving. I'm just saying, like, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but like psychologically, that's probably what's going on in a guy's head.
Totally. And then so that's this like, there's just this toxicity involved with women in any industry.
Yeah.
You know, like whether you're a writer, an author, a musician, a snowboarder, a skateboarder, across the board, sex sells. Like, and I swear to God, like maybe when did they figure it out? In the 1950s?
Yeah, when they switched it to marketing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big advertising firms just figured it out somewhere.
And they were just straight up like, all right, chicks sell shit way better than dudes. On top of it, half naked chicks sell
Really
shit
sell stuff.
way better than
Yeah.
dudes. And it's just,
Well, and like phallus stuff, putting that kind of in the mix, advertising and
Well, the prime example of that, I'm sorry to interrupt, but for me, that really hits home, you take Tom Brady. He's statistically the greatest quarterback of all time. Okay, he is. I'm sad to see him leave the Patriots, right? You'd think this guy, 100,000 people show up to a stadium to watch him play football. He double that and however many millions tune in on TV same day, right? That's a pretty influential person, the quarterback. You take his wife, Giselle, okay, supermodel for Victoria's Secret. She makes a shitload more money than him. So that, to me, puts in perspective the power of like a hot, you know what I mean? Like that's the way you're like, okay, that hot girl marketing clearly works. Like,
and I'm like, we have all these like terrible victimization things where it's just like, life as a woman, like woo me, it's so hard. I'm sorry, no life is easier than that of the hot girl.
yeah.
You straight up get a rich ass dude, and you're like,
if you learn it
want a
early
car,
and-
like,
yeah.
and this is such a shitty thing to say, and I'm trying to be funny, but it's a reality, and it sucks, and it's just like, all right, so how do we make this better? How do we stop over sexualizing women, especially within action sports? We fucking hire more women, so at least that there's a voice, a reasoning voice behind, hey, maybe this is a bad look for you guys.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't the best way that we could be representing our female athletes. Or, better yet, ask them how they want to be represented. Like, honestly, I am extremely fortunate where I ride for the brands that are just like, what do you want? You want an action photo? You want a lifestyle ad? You want art? What do you want? And I get to choose. And that is so powerful for me. And that has given me so much purpose. And like, it's like building blocks, you know, where like I'm provided this opportunity and I get to like portray myself in this regard. And there's a hope that it just can be like existing in the realm of men in snowboarding without having my gender be the question of why I'm here. You know, and like, I have no problem saying it. I would not be here if I wasn't a chick. But also, you reach a point where it's like, if we want to even get past that, we have to just stop thinking about the only reason why I'm here is that because I'm a chick. No, fuck that. The only reason I'm here is because I love this shit.
Yeah.
So you can love this shit and be where you want to be as long as you're super fucking passionate about it, regardless of your gender.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, it's the passion that brings you along where you've gotten.
Yeah. And so it's like, how do we make this shit better? We get more women in house. We quit over sexualizing everything. We straight up come up with better ways to represent women. We let women have their own voices and tell the stories that they want to tell rather than men showing up and being like, I know your story, we're going to portray it this way. The amount of times I've seen just shitty editorial or shitty documentaries or shitty ads, it's just men dictating everything. And not that men have bad ideas. It's just ask if this is appropriate.
Yeah.
Ask if this is going in the right direction or if they're comfortable. You know, it's just, it'll provide the opportunity for evolution, for it to get better.
Totally. And
Supposedly sales are 25% women right now, 75% men on average.
I feel like on average sales are like 80% women because moms are buying everything.
Could be true.
That's
So
a good
it's
point.
it's a female
yeah,
card swipe.
could be true.
Yeah. But I don't fucking know.
Well, I really appreciate hearing it from that perspective, and that makes the most sense too. It's not just like, hey, like I look at it, it's what riders we need to get more riders. It's like, no, fuck that. We need more women all the way up from like reps to fucking team
You
managers.
don't meet a lot
to,
of women reps, huh?
to like it's really skewed.
It's a
I
hard
can't
life to
think-
live.
Yeah, that's tough.
And they're bosses when you do meet them.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
kind of like,
true.
oh, you run shit.
Yeah,
like, not
true.
only are you very persuasive,
Yeah.
but you know your shit and you're running shit.
And you're
like,
running shit.
all right, that's sick.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, it's just like, this isn't a sad story.
No, it's not.
You know, like right now there's more girls, females than ever filming.
Yeah.
That's so fucking sick.
It's dope.
Like
Yeah.
we're actually entering a place that like I I have never seen this in snowboarding where there's straight up just like 30 girls who submit their street parts.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we've never seen this.
That's cool.
So
Yeah.
it's like the fact that we are getting more snowboarders will hopefully provide the chain reaction to having more women in the industry. And
Straight up.
if you're a girl out there listening to this, like, fuck, dude, like, get involved. Ask questions. See if people need an intern. If you're interested in this shit, the hardest thing, or the worst thing you're going to get is a no. Yeah. The hardest thing you're going to have to do is write an email.
Yep.
You know, and it's just like, I can't say it enough, especially for snowboarders. Like, if you're on the path to being a pro snowboarder, or even if you are a pro snowboarder, or even if your career just ended, consider going back to school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's get into that.
Like, it's fucked. Like, the amount of kids I see, like, their lives just kind of end. And I do think that like we talked about, snowboarding creates a very interesting skill set. There's a lot of dudes who don't need, or women too, who don't need to go to college. They just got to figure it out, because snowboarding is a really intense form of college.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be super good at communication. You have to be super adaptable. You have to, like, build your own brand and execute a bunch of ideas. Like, become your own producer, become your own boss. So... but entering into the real world after that can be challenging.
Yeah.
Especially with no work experience, especially with no baseline education. You know, if the best you got is a GED, hopefully you're really, really, really resourceful. And like, college isn't for everybody. It's not. And it's like, you could even just like not go to college, but just read a fucking couple books. You know, there's always an answer, and there's always like another option. But I just want the snowboarders out there to plan for snowboarding to not last forever.
Yeah, it's crazy seeing the depression that comes as the career winds down. It's messed up. And this year we've seen it more than ever.
Like, yeah, the life after boarding is serious.
It's really
shit.
something that kicks people in the ass, and it's if people don't start helping them, it's a messed up thing.
No, it can fucking level you.
Yeah.
But also, it's not even about people helping them; it's them helping themselves.
Yeah,
yeah.
You know, it's just let that be in the back of your mind and realize, like, I can do a couple things to prepare me. You know, and I sound like I'm the fucking mom always.
Yeah.
I'm the mom of the crew.
Just
where I'm just like,
prepare.
Like, let's help you get prepared for the future, because this shit,
it's gonna happen.
Real life sucks.
Yeah.
We live in a fake ass universe. Our jobs are bullshit.
Yeah.
We have the sickest shit ever.
Yeah.
And to enter out there, like, to get into the shit once it's all gone, and like, you think friends are forever, you think snowboarding's forever, like, it's not. Things change. Your body changes. Your body deteriorates. The economy changes. You move. Climate change happens. It stops snowing. Something's going to happen to where this isn't going to be your source of happiness. Mm-hmm. So you got to just find something else.
And also looking at that too, when you're talking about going to school, right? For a lot of people, you know, they get wrapped up where their identity is that of a snowboarder, right? For you, when you're going to school, like, is that like Des the snowboarder is like, that's not a person, right? You're just like, I'm Des the student.
It's hard. I had a hard time with that because I lie when I'm in school.
Mm-hmm.
A few people know, a few of like the professors I'm friends with, like, I'll let them know like why it's taken me so long to get my degrees and how it is I have all this experience and I've done all these things, but somehow I'm still like undergrad, you know, and people get amazed, you know, like they do think it's amazing, but it's just super challenging to go into a classroom and look at kids or peers and just explain what it is you do, because it is so it's like, hey, I'm a professional snowboarder. Oh my God. Like, it's just like, this is me assuming that the audience is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where it was exhausting. And like, excuse me, I personally made the decision that it's easier to just pretend like school is my life when I'm in school. And man, I dive in, I obsess over it. Like, I love it. It's my fucking favorite thing. And snowboarding, I'm not a professional snowboarder whenever I'm in school, but I have all the traits of the professional snowboarder.
That's crazy.
You know, I have the skill set. Like,
yeah, I'll tell you, you don't have to put a fucking label on. I'm Des, but all my self-worth isn't reliant on the fact that I'm a snowboarder. Like, that's healthy, I think.
But I will say that without snowboarding, without my identity as a snowboarder, everything else that I've become, I wouldn't have become.
True.
Like, I would have not been a writer. I wouldn't have been an artist. I wouldn't have been a traveler. I wouldn't have been a photographer. Like, snowboarding opened all of those doors and provided all of those instances where I became interested in this other form of communication. So if I wouldn't have found snowboarding in the level that I did, who knows what I would have been.
Yeah, and then when I look at the why, not to put words in your mouth, but it seems like, you know, you get a knee injury, you got a lot of time to kill, you learn how to draw, right?
Yeah.
Is that kind of like...
yeah. So yeah, the injuries chalk up to the education, and just also like obsessiveness. It's in my being to be obsessed with other things. Like, and I'm obsessed with feelings, where I'm always like, I need to know why someone thinks and feels about this thing in the way that they do. I just need to know why.
Yeah.
And that's not like a thing that, like, that's private information, you know? So like, that's just across the board. That's snowboarding, it's just feeling, it's emotion. So like, that all translates into art, and that all translates into documentation and just kind of, cataloging shit. And it's like, I don't know if it gets me anywhere, but I just like, I think I have a hard enough time existing as myself that in order for me to exist as myself, like to validate my existence, I got to figure out everybody else's like bits of existence as well to make sure I'm not totally fucking up. Which sucks. It's really hard. And it's like, in a way that might sound like maybe I'm like not confident or a little insecure and all these things, but actually it's like, I don't have an issue with my confidence. I just want to make sure I'm not fucking up. Like, I just want I just want to exist in a way that I'm cool with, but I don't fucking know.
Yeah. And you've gone through some ups and downs as far as like being uncomfortable in your own skin, right? Some pretty extreme highs and lows and all that stuff.
Dude,
correct?
the lows are so, and that's the thing, like everything. Yeah. I've been low. You've been low.
I've been really low. Yeah.
We know a lot of people who have been so low, and even like I've read a lot of books about the people who have been so low, and I think there's an obsession with disparity. I think it's in our human nature to attach to tragedy and to visit painful moments or to experience painful moments, you know, like we glorify so much shit when we're kids, like sad songs or rom-coms or horror films even. Yeah, I've been really low. Depression fucking sucks. And like, let's talk about depression.
Well, I'm going to circle back because I got two things I was kind of, and you talk about like listening to that emo music, right? Me and Buds, we're over here, we're listening to rap, okay? So I literally, I'm not relating on like listening to miserable music and getting sad. I'm slapping like, you know, Young Jeezy, you know what I mean? So that's a recommendation, you know, from maybe, but I'm going to, from both of us. But then also when you talk about that feeling of, when you talk about basically like almost like loving being miserable, and it's there's basically like we have our comfort zones, and you look, sometimes some people's comfort zones are chaos. When things are too stable, they got to sabotage it because it's chaos to make it more chaotic. You see it a million times when somebody's like, they love like hectic, chaotic relationships, or like, you know, up and down, and then when
some people actually love
they
them,
thrive
right?
on that, and then they get in a healthy relationship and they sabotage it because they want the chaos. And I'm guilty. I have all kinds of fucked up comfort zones, you know, and it's interesting in that same space, like being happy and healthy. It's maybe the misery can be more comfortable if that's what you're used to.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, I am everyone's saddest friend.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I have accepted it, but there's some, like you said, the comfort zones, or even just like maybe adaptation zones, you know, too, where it's like I function under very intense periods of high stress.
Yeah.
I am spread so thin that I like sometimes amaze myself, where I'm just like, oh my God, I got through that month. How did I do all this shit? And it's just kind of like, for me, it's a, I'm really good at procrastinating. So it's a work technique that isn't the most beneficial because I suffer.
Yeah.
But the outcomes are always much greater, or the outcomes actually exist sometimes. Like I do respond really well to moments of extreme discourse. And that's just how it works for me. Not the healthiest.
Well, I think you have to you have to have good highs to appreciate the lows. You got to be sad to appreciate being happy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. It's important.
It's important. And then also when you look at like right now with this depression, it's like it's crazy, man. Like talking about people that are struggling. Like I've personally struggled. I think it's almost impossible to not struggle. And if you haven't, it's coming, you know. And so like you look, my aunt works for she's a doctor, and she was saying the suicide hotlines are just like ringing off the hook. Like you just saved some lady's life at 7-Eleven the other day.
Insane.
What do you mean?
Do you want to run that
It's a
story
very
back?
long story, but
Let's get 5 seconds.
I'll give you the quick
cliff notes.
5 seconds.
Someone was having a really, really hard time that it was Mother's Day, and they obviously, I kind of saw them at 7-Eleven, saw they were having a hard time with it, and then, you know, me went and talked to them, and she had basically just had this horrible life where she got her kid taken away. Parents kind of orchestrated it all kind of sneakily. She had a husband that gave her such mental abuse. She has PTSD, and she wasn't able to talk to her kid on Mother's Day because her parents wouldn't let her. They're basically brainwashing the kid to not talk to her. Long story short, she was going to kill herself up the canyon. And I sat and talked to her for like 45 minutes. Actually, it was like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And afterwards, got her happy, and then got her help the next day. And it was insane.
Her.
Yeah, it was insane. And there's a lot more to the story, but that's the cliff
Stony
notes.
Bud straight saved her life.
Yeah.
He called me the next day, broke it down.
That's
It was
beauty
messed
of Stony
up.
Buds,
Yeah,
man.
it was
Yeah.
pretty intense, and the stuff she was telling me that she's been through was gnarly.
I mean, it's like, have you been there? Like suicide. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'd prefer to not fully get into it, but yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to. What's funny is you were the first person I texted after mine.
Really?
Yeah. And you did, like, it's funny because I masked it with, like, some sobriety shit, and you fucking came through heavy. You called me every day for a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
And
shit.
by you say yours, you mean you were in that headspace, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like,
Holy shit, I never knew that.
but you got
Yeah.
some sort of vibe if you hit her every day for a month.
dude, he hit
No,
me
but I
every
didn't.
day
She
for a
she
month.
Making
masked
sure
it
you
in
were chill.
sobriety. I was just checking in on her to make sure she was being sober. I
Yeah.
never really put two and
But
two
you
together.
got that check in every day, and sometimes, like with this lady, it's that one moment I got her through it. That's all you need
Dude,
is
and
that
that's-
call.
Holy shit,
That's
Des.
the thing. Like, when you
I
get,
never thought about that.
I
That's
never
crazy.
wanted you to.
Yeah.
And it's like, that information was for me. I just shared it with you, but it's just like, fuck, getting those texts, getting those phone calls, and just like so embarrassingly answer the phone. And like for you too, like you were checking up on me, like, oh, she's trying to stay sober. Like I'm still drinking, but I'm just like,
But
hearing
you still
his
had the
voice.
issue, yeah.
Yeah. And like there was like fucking Hup was there for me endlessly, and then Mark O'Malley just like really fucking pulled through. And for me, it's like you get to a point where you seem so alone. Life is pointless. I spent a lifetime filling up my brain with idealized poems, songs, movies, things that just like made it so normal. Like to me, it's just like it was a joke. I would joke about wanting to die all the time. I would joke about killing myself. Like, for sure, I was the crazy ex-girlfriend, like, when I would just send texts where it's just like, I'll fucking kill myself, like, if you leave me. Like, shit like that. Like, when you're a teenager, like, I'd like to pride myself that I don't do that in my adult life. But it's just, like, shit where it's, like, so many people do that, and it's a common narrative. It's something that the media talks about it, like, pop culture talks about it, and it's become, like, a desensitized factor, and, like, they write songs about it and it becomes normalized, and then you get to the place where it's like you truly think that like, life, fuck this shit. This shit sucks. I don't make money. Like, people don't love me. Like, family sucks. Like, everything sucks. Like, I don't have friends. Like, you can come up with anything to convince yourself that life sucks. Like, you can fucking stub your toe and think that life sucks, Like, and this is just fucking, it's tragic because you look around and it's just kind of like you said, suicide is fucking raging right now. Like, we lost 2 of our friends within the last year, and just like, I can't speak on their behalf, but sometimes I wonder, just like, fuck, Like, what if American culture wasn't so obsessed with bullshit that didn't matter? Or like, fuck, what if like you can't control anything. Everything is out of your hands. But somewhere along the line, just a line has to be drawn. And it just has to become a thing where it's like, this isn't normal. It's not normal to not want to be alive because we only have one fucking life.
Yeah.
We have one, and like I learned that and I'm so fucking grateful that I learned it. And it's scary as fuck to even have learned that because now like, fuck, you got the responsibility of just like going through, like I'm halfway. Like, or say maybe I make it to 62, I'm fucking halfway. Fuck, that's a long time. And I don't even know if I want to go that, but like, I mean, I got like another 10 years in me, but it's just like, it's so bad right now. Mm-hmm. And why?
Yeah, totally.
Why is it bad?
Yeah. Straight up, the fact that we're talking about this right now is one of those things where it's faux pas to talk. You don't talk about that. You don't talk about that. It's like, fuck it. It's too real.
I think it's more important than ever
I know
to talk
five
about
people.
it, though, if the
I know
numbers are
5
up.
people in the past fucking year that have killed themselves. And what I'm saying with this COVID, it's fucking terrible. More and more people are getting lonelier. You're separated from your friends. And for me, the hardest times I've had were a lot of them were attributed to loneliness. And I think it's important to know you got friends, you got people out there that care about you. You got to tell your friends you care about them. And it's like, reach out because, you might think that there's 2 things that I think is important here. It's like, you might think you're the only person going through it, but guess what? When you look around, there's probably more people than you care to imagine that are going through it. And then second of all, I feel like a lot of times when you're in those darkest times, you just got to know the fucking good times are right around the corner. Like, I feel like there's usually like if you just keep hanging on, like you're gonna eventually get through to something better, but.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's all just like a wonderful thing to think. But like some people don't even have the privilege of getting to those thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like the question where it's like I asked you, like, why is it this way? And it's like, you talked about the loneliness factor. And then I think too, like the further we get into like phone culture and internet culture, the more detached
the
we're
internet
becoming.
thing's huge.
Yeah. And it's like, we're losing connection.
And you have to stack up to everybody
I know.
that's on the net, and that's hard to do.
Dude,
You start to think you're a loser because I don't
like,
stack up.
We talk about the internet shit where it's just like, I'm fucking successful as hell.
Yeah.
I've had a sick ass life. I look at myself on the internet and I look at what people say about me on the internet, and I'm straight up just like, oh, you only have 12,000 followers? That's all you've amounted to? We thought you would do so much better.
Yeah.
And I look at myself and I'm like, do I start posting my body? What if someone says that my body's gross? Like, what happens if I don't succeed in that? And like, these are all just like, like manic thoughts that just happen on a daily basis where you're just like, everything in life tells people that they're not good enough. The internet is sitting there screaming at you that you're not good enough. Why the fuck are we buying into this shit?
What about all the Facetune that everyone does too? You're not even seeing the real person anyways if you're a younger generation. It's crazy.
I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just shit where it's just like, like loneliness is a factor and communication is a factor, and just like the biggest thing for me, and like that's the thing, like being on here talking about this shit, you've lost 5 people, I lost like 2, and it's like also like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the shit where it's just like, I can sit here and complain about institutional sexism endlessly. And I can pound my fist on a desk and rant and rave and just like proclaim what will make things better. But when it comes to something that's actually like a big fucking deal, people like have such a hard time talking about it. And then it's just crazy that it's this thing. So it's like, like showing up, talking about this shit, it's not fucking easy. But for me, it's like, maybe there's a fucking chance that just like people or snowboarders, like people can hear the shit and just be like, fuck, there's a couple other options. There's always
another option.
Always another option.
Yeah.
And it's like, some people don't even have the fucking chance to have the other option, Like, fucking Ojo. Like, the shit that really fucking sucks. And it's like, not like the other, I don't mean that to be insensitive at all. you know, but there's shit where people do not have a choice. And that's life. Okay, but when you have a choice, you have to choose life. Mm-hmm. And the only person who's going to choose that is yourself. You can go through all the fucking therapy you want. You can fucking do all the work, all the self. You can do all the fucking yoga, all the meditation. You can do everything. If you don't make the choice, if you don't choose to live, you're not going to like be able to step forward. So it's just like, how do we instill this in our fucking youth? How do we instill this in the current depressed ass fucking COVID-19 populace?
Yeah, straight up.
And
It's like-
people think that everyone's going to, maybe their life's going to be better if you go away, or no one's going to care. And the fact of the matter is, there's always people that are going to really care.
No, and that's the thing. Like,
That's why they need to reach out, talk to somebody. It's so worth it to get past that moment.
and even
People are going to fucking care,
Yeah.
yeah,
no matter who you are.
yeah. And you think about the legacy, you know, and that's shit that fucking like kills me. Is you look at the legacy, and it's just like people had these lives, and they had friends. And they were your friends, you know? And, like, I have friends. I have family. And to, like, think about what that legacy would have done, I would have fucked some shit up real bad.
Yeah.
You know? And I look at the other shit, and it's just like, nah, I don't mean to say that, like, they fucked up. But, man, they fucked up. And it's like, you look at the legacy, and it just goes back to the shit that I fucking hate. You get a photo on Instagram. You get a paragraph. You get a eulogy at snowboardermagazine.com. Like, what do you fucking get? Nothing.
Yeah,
It's just sad.
it is. It's sad.
It's way sicker to fucking stand outside and get a sunburn than it is to fucking have a moment of remembrance.
Yeah.
You know, and like, and these are all things where like, I don't even, articulating this shit's weird because I'm like,
Yeah, it's hard to articulate. It's hard to get into.
well, even so, just like, I don't even know what I think. I don't even know how I feel about it because it is all so foreign.
Well, it's also not something that's openly discussed
At all.
At all. So we're
And if
talking
it was,
about,
it wouldn't happen as
and
much, I'm
exactly because it's not socially acceptable.
And it should be.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the thing, like,
look at the numbers. It's fucking real. People are dying. Fuck that, dude. We got to talk about it.
but I mean, the first part is like, realize when you're depressed.
Yeah.
That's the first fucking part. Because, like,
Yeah.
I remember that shit, too, where it's just, like, depression, what's that?
Yeah.
Being a woman, you can't be weak. You can't be depressed. Being
Yeah.
a man, if you're depressed, you're a pussy. Like, we have to, all
Some
that
people don't
has
have
to
a choice.
change.
It's in their body, like, it's just the
Yeah.
way they're
Chemistry.
made. Their chemistry,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
just depressed. You know, my mom's like that. It's a thing.
It's a thing. And just, like, if it becomes more common, if it becomes less taboo, if it becomes
Yeah.
open, like there's a chance, like I don't even know what we're hoping for, you know, but like for me it's like if I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna fucking demand equal representation for genders, like the least I can do is provide some sort of outlet as well for, like, fuck, I don't even know what I'm saying.
Well, what you're saying is huge, and I'm gonna see if I can put it into my words in a way of relatability too. That's huge. In my life, what I experienced with getting sober is I thought when I quit drinking, I was the only person going through these fucking specific set of problems. I thought I was the only person that was struggling in this way. Turns out I went to a program, I met a bunch of people, realized, holy shit, I'm in a room full of people that all have the exact same fucking problems I do. And I think in regards to what we're talking about with mental health and people killing themselves, I think there's a lot of people that are fucking going through it and they're just internalizing it. They're not talking about it. So it's like, fuck it, let's talk about it. And we're talking about it and it's fucking dope. And so, you know, in this video, we'll probably have links in the bio,
sure.
some links so you can get some numbers and talk to people. Most importantly, reach out, talk to your friends, get on the phone, like meet people in person if you can. And I don't know what the solution is, but I think the fact that we're talking about it is some degree of fucking solution. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, yeah, for viewers, like, man, first warning sign's a joke.
Oh, yeah.
Straight up.
Yep.
First warning sign's a joke.
Yeah, when people are joking about it.
Yeah, they start joking about it, and it means they're really thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because why else would you joke about it?
Yeah. No, and that was, like, one of the biggest changing factors for me, too, is, like, fucking Mark O'Malley sits me down, like, whatever, immediately after, and it's just like, this isn't funny anymore.
He said that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope.
Straight up, this isn't funny anymore. We can't.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a
It's
joke.
not a joke.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is, regardless of whatever happened, I had to teach myself to not joke about it.
Yeah.
Because it was so ingrained. Because it was so easy. It was a habit that I had to break myself from, you know? And like, that's just, yeah, shit like that. It's just so fucking crazy.
It's just, if you're ever feeling that low and you're a viewer, hit us up if you have no one to hit up, man.
Straight up.
I'll get on the phone with anybody.
Stony Buds,
talk
dude.
them too.
Every day is catch Stony at 7-Eleven.
Catch me at Sevy. We can have a talk. No, but for real, I mean, talk to somebody, because drugs also fuel that depression, and that's a heavy thing.
Alcohol fuels the depression.
Yeah. And you got to realize that. Maybe you're drunk. Maybe you need to wake up sober before you make a decision that you can never come back from.
Totally.
Obviously.
Or there's other things too. Maybe you're addicted to working out. Maybe you're addicted to your phone. Like, there's so many things. And like Chris said, talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Fucking anybody. And even if nobody's listening, fucking call your parents. If you don't got parents, call the fucking hotline. Like, there's a phone that connects to something. And if you don't want to talk to anybody, fuck you. Talk to somebody.
Yeah, no kid should outlive their parents. That's for damn
straight
sure.
up. If you're going to sit there and be better than this and just like, nah, it's not worth it. Like, fuck this. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Do something before it. Do something else. It's the worst that's going to happen is nothing. The worst thing that happens is you fucking die.
And then affect so many people's lives that actually cared for you so much. It's like, get through it. Call some people.
Yeah. Be kind. Fuck the bullshit right now. Fuck the trolling. Fuck the internet. Fuck the...
Yeah, the trolling's heavy. It's making teenagers that are like 14 make decisions.
Dude,
like
I got the shit kicked out of me on the internet because I have armpit hair.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was almost trendy now at this point. I thought that was the cool thing.
Dripping sweat.
Should we hit the troll? Let's hit the troll with a little. Oh shit! Wrong sound.
Yeah, the trolls win.
Oh damn it! That was the wrong sound.
Fired.
Son of a bitch! I'm on the wrong panel here. All right, we're going to the troll.
You're fired.
Yeah, shouts to the troll.
Yeah.
All right, well, you know what? Let's do a little pivot here. How do you feel about a pivot?
We got to bring this back up.
We're gonna do a
I think
pivot.
we got to go back
Well,
up.
you know what?
Wait,
Well, I'm gonna
real quick. I just want to know the answer to the question I was asking before. America's next top model or whatever, Desiree. When I hear about that, my wife was telling me you
Wait,
tried
what?
to get on America's Next Top Model.
Yeah.
the TV show.
I did not believe her. I was like, you obviously have the wrong pro snowboarder.
Oh, no, I did. I was like 17. They had open calls. I went. You showed up wearing fucking 5-inch heels, skinny jeans, white tank top,
5-inch
hair
heels.
in a ponytail. Yeah, because they want to see your bone structure. So you put your hair back, and you have to be in heels because you can't do runway not in heels.
True. If you can't walk in heels, you can't do the runway.
Straight up, yeah. So I went. And I made it to the second round, and then they were just like, "Yeah, you're not for us."
You made it to the second round.
Yeah.
And
So
what made you do it though? You have a unique look about you.
Oh my God, I love fashion. I love modeling. I love pop culture.
Yeah,
I
that
love
makes
so
sense.
much of the shit that I hate on.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think that all things are bad. I don't think that all women who expose their bodies, that it's like some insane over-sexualization of their body. Like, we need lingerie models.
Yeah.
How the fuck else are we going to see how good we're going to look while they wear? We could get some more body types in there, maybe.
True. I like
we
that.
could really just make it a little bit more acceptable.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like, I think I think it's cool, and I like photography. I think also,
like that type of photography is insane.
and that's when I made the shift too, where like I could never like look at the camera and just be like, you can't do like the sexy face, or you're just like,
Yeah.
and they're just like, can you just smile? And I'm like, am I smiling? And I'm like dripping sweat, and they're just like, you're not good at this. And I'm like, give me the fucking camera.
give me
Let's
the
switch.
camera.
Let's switch.
Especially when modeling snowboard outerwear in California in the middle, just
Jesus.
like covered in sweat, just like
Dude,
Yeah.
those photos make me look so fucking bad. And I'm always just like, Cook. He's just like, Des, you look great. I'm just like, I look like shit, man. No wonder you guys want to fucking hire models. They do not hire models, but no wonder other brands hire models and bring them in. Because like when you get there and you get in all the clothes and really you just look like fucking garbage. I'm not selling any outerwear. My modeling is not
Des,
selling any
you
fucking
look
outerwear.
great. You look great. You look great. Let's be real. But so for the sake of time, let's bring it back and let's talk about these goddamn accolades. We're talking Rider of the Year, Video Part of the Year. Do you want to just run through the whole thing?
I don't got it memorized.
Snowboarder magazine cover. Okay,
Something about this cover, Pat Bridges always tells me it's one of the top 3 most viral covers of Snowboarder magazine.
Let's talk about the cover
On the internet?
On the internet. Well, this is before the other ones that were, a lot of covers weren't put out on the net. But since the internet and Instagram, there's 3 covers that are like the most viral. One of them's the 30-year cover.
Oh, that one's fucked.
Yeah, and
that
I
one's
forget
so
the
good.
third one, but yours is top 3 as far as when most viral when it came out.
Great photo.
It's kind of crazy.
Buds, you did
That's
not
huge.
you did not take that
Buds
one.
did not take. Buds was not invited
Did
to the
not
sesh.
take that. And you know what? That's a lot of photos I don't always look at and be like, damn, that dude killed it. He killed it.
Oh yeah,
He killed it.
shouts to Mark O'Malley.
Yeah.
Great photographer, great
Shouts.
filmmaker, talented guy.
Great photo.
Sorry.
No, I don't mind.
And then let's see that couple years into Think Tank, you got Women's Writer of the Year.
Yep.
Yep.
I did video part of the year first, and then women's writer and video part, and then another video part.
Stacks. That's stacks of trophies over here.
I mean, but when you this is my favorite. I mean, I'm really proud.
Yeah.
Honored even.
Yep.
Then I look around and I'm just like, fuck, Jess has so many more than I do. and I'm just like, fuck. Like, I think MFR's got a lot. Jamie's got a fuck ton.
Yeah.
But then they got like the medals. That's the thing
Yeah.
too, where like a part of me's like, all right, how do I get to the Olympics just so I can get a ring?
You're just rowing your way there.
I'm just like, I need something like border cross. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm too, maybe, who knows? But like, you think, like, I wish I had some medals.
These
and-
girls, it's like Brady and like Peyton Manning. It's like
Yeah.
you had so many damn trophies, but they still don't have enough
Yeah.
compared to the other person. You know what I mean?
but it's like that's you commit the whole life to this shit, and you're
Yeah.
just like, I just want to prove to everyone that I get to be here. Because that goes back to the beginning of being a girl and just being like, why the fuck are you? Who the fuck invited you?
I feel like in the snowboard world, you have proven you have
Yeah,
a
but
we
slot.
still got to keep going.
Yeah, you gotta keep moving. You don't want to get comfortable, but let's take a little pause and kiss your ass, because at the end of the day, there's women that you're paved the way for, like all those girls that are coming up right now. I guarantee you paved the way for them and made all this shit possible. So you got to give yourself some credit on that.
And it's fun. It's fun to think about, where I just hope it's a little bit easier. Not in the realm of them progressing snowboarding wise, but I just hope it's easier for them to be accepted for who they are, for the way they look, for the ways that they want to express themselves. I hope that the future women of snowboarding literally get to look at shit and be like, that's whack, and do their own shit.
Yeah.
You know, and like that, I so badly just hope that these up and coming generations are just like independent thinkers who fucking rip. And that's the thing, they rip right now. You know, Kennedy rips, Jill rips, Maria rips, and it's just like, fuck, like you guys are gonna be in the positions of power in the next 4 years, and it's just like, fucking do your thing.
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully your guys' paths are fucking sick.
Yeah.
You know? And like that's all I ever wanted. That's all I ever hoped for. And like still to this day, I'm just like, it's your first year filming. Like, let's fucking go out. I'll teach you everything I know.
And that's so cool to do that.
Yeah, like I can't teach
People
you how to
need
do the
that.
trick, but I can teach you how to build a spot. I can teach you how to find a spot.
Dude, you work your ass off out there too. It's insane.
Love shoveling.
Yeah.
That's a graceful move to become a bit more of a mentor as you get older.
Yeah.
That's always cool, because a lot of people they view the youth as competition. It's like, I look at the women coming up in summer. It's in fucking great hands. There's so many ripping chicks coming up right now. It's awesome.
But I
think they're gonna
love
be
that
fine.
I can go out on a photo shoot now and have a mix, because before it was never like that for me.
Yeah.
And I think it keeps it so much more fun and legit.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, there was such a disparity of women's action photos. Like, I feel like even when my interview came out in Snowboarder Mag, it was like Bridges was just like, "Oh my God, you have 13 photos," and I'm just like, I don't fucking know. Like, what do you mean? He's like, girls don't get these stats.
Yeah. He has to hunt. He
Yeah.
has to decide who's going to get an interview based on who has enough photos, because even the ones he wants to give them to don't have enough photos.
And how fucked up is that?
Yeah, that's messed up.
Doesn't
And it's
matter
like,
how good the story
nobody
is.
was out shooting these girls that are like just top. It's messed up. Yeah, he stresses about that all the time.
Oh, and
So
that's
that
the thing.
Trickles back to women photographers too. Fuck it, all the way through.
I think there's like 3
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And like that's
Maybe
the thing
even
where it's
less.
like I'm gonna pick up a camera, like that's a void to fill. I can make some fucking dough. I
Yeah.
see Stony Bud's making all the dough. I'm about to come for his cheddar biscuits.
Yeah, you're referring to we're talking about cheddar biscuits. We're talking about the bisque here.
Well, you know what's crazy too is women snowboarding is on the rise. So shooting with women's a smart move, and a lot of guys don't even understand that.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Business-wise, it's a smart move.
But, like, it also doesn't have to be, like, the girl thing either. It's like the girl snowboarders don't need the girl photographer and the girl filmer, you know? But it's just like, fuck, any ladies out there who are sick-ass photographers, we need you.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? Guys even are short of photographers.
Yeah.
We could use a girl photographer. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
We could also use a bunch of dude photographers too. If any guys are out there like, oh, maybe I should get into snowboard photography, like pick up a fucking camera. But just so you know, it sucks. You're not going to make any money and it's terrible.
It's a passion game.
Yeah, you'll get some good friends and great experiences.
You might go on some cool trips though.
Yeah.
And that's the best part.
That's the beauty of it.
I'm going to touch on something that I think, I'm going to speak on men's rights right now.
Sick. Are you going to mansplain some men's rights?
I'm going to mansplain. I had this in my notes, so I'm going to say it because we're moving through the notes. But I just hope for men's snowboarding, the next Travis Rice is fucking gay. Like, he's just open, like, fully out doing fucking triple corks. And that's it. That's all I was going to say. I don't know if that applies to men's rights. I just want to say that it's on the. I was talking to Dave Sturdoman and we were chatting about that. Shouts to Dave.
Dude, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. Fuck it.
See, that shit's crazy.
Because it's okay for women to be like.
I feel like
lesbians are accepted or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But it's not accepted for a dude to fucking.
It's much more accepted lately, though, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I'm down.
It is.
Define accepted.
It is with us.
But
there's nobody doing it yet.
If the next Travis Rice was gay, I'd be so down to go shoot him. And
you
hang
would
with
be
him.
down.
Yeah.
Totally. We live in a very homophobic nation.
Yeah.
No denial there. America, homophobic as fuck. Get your shit together.
Yeah,
Being gay is sick.
Much chiller.
Agreed.
You know, like, and this is straight up the thing. Sexuality. Fuck you. Like, you want to know who I'm fucking. That is none of your business. Same as anybody can marry whoever the fuck they want.
Straight up.
Like, and this is talking from straight up experience. Like, I am just like so fucking across the board, the spectrum, sexual. Fuck, I'm stuttering now because I'm getting excited. Where it's just like into chicks, into dudes, like just straight up love it. And if the next Travis Rice is gay, who openly comes out as gay, that would mean that there was a chance that that the snowboarding industry didn't have their head so fucking far up their ass that people are still fucking scared to come out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
All right. So like people are scared to come out because of the repercussions. You know, you look at what happened. This pro college football player was drafted to be 90th pick, came out his senior year, moved down to 140th in the draft, got picked up by some team, dropped the next week, went and played for Canada for a year, kicked off. And this was all 2016.
Oh, damn. Not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
Crazy.
So there's heavy repercussions for athletes in sports to come out. And the bottom line is it's not a safe environment. And you know, the most fucked up part is it's not the teams that are homophobic. It's not the coaches that are homophobic. It's the fans.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never looked at it like that.
And straight up, it's just like, it's so funny. And man, it's kind of like shouts to this fucking college class I'm in right now because it's fucking sociology of sports in America, where it's just like, I'm reading about this shit every day and I'm just writing about it and I'm like a little bit obsessed. But the bottom line is shit's fucked up. So how do we fix it? You know, and it's going to be generational. It's going to be the same shit that I talked about earlier with the kids. And it's also just getting these fucking old heads out of office.
Yeah.
And
that's the biggest problem, huh?
Yeah. And it's like, we have to restructure shit. And it's just like, you talk about like women. It's totally cool for women to be gay in action sports. And you know why? Because if you're a girl who's an athlete, you're already going against like the dictated norms, your stereotypes. You're not soft, you're not frail, you're not fragile. So if you're not a soft little girl, you're definitely a lesbian.
Oh, damn.
And then, so every woman athlete has to go through this throughout their journey of being an athlete, just the social stigma. You're good at sports, you must be gay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then, so all the girls who are straight are just like, fuck, I gotta prove that I'm straight, gotta get a boyfriend, maybe get like 4 other boyfriends, maybe get engaged, fuck a bunch of dudes just so they know I'm not gay. Like, you know, just in case you're wondering, I'm not gay, you know, and then I'll wear pink or something. And then on the other hand, the chicks who are gay, they're just like, yeah, we're fucking gay. And the entire world is like, we knew it.
So you just screwed either way.
Yeah, it's just a
lose-lose.
Lose-lose. And then so the male athlete, like they can't be gay
Yeah.
because they got to be tough and strong and resilient.
The
Like,
skier came out and everyone was
Gus
stoked,
Kensworthy.
right?
Yeah.
yeah, and no, but I think within our industries and community, there's total support.
But
I
you're
think
saying more the outside of that
I'm
is where
talking
the problem is.
outside world is where
Yes.
the problem is. Like,
Yeah.
gay bashing still exists.
There's like 14-year-old immature kids too are a fan, and those kids are brutal, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those kids are tough.
You
It's-
know, like
it-
they're
Tough
always
audience.
saying, they're like, I think about shit when I was a cat age, you're just a fucking little shithead.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
a shithead.
Well, and that's the thing too. I think like the social climate has changed so much where I'm super shameful about my past and the language that I used to use.
Yeah.
I would say terrible things, not
Yeah.
to gay people, but I didn't understand the power of words and I didn't understand the implications that came along with the power of words.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, this shit matters. So fucking learn your vocabulary.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Figure
people are
it
way
out.
off on that still.
totally.
Yeah.
Like, if you're still dropping F-bombs in 2020, I'm going to punch you in the fucking
Yeah.
face.
And there's
Or
people
the throat.
dropping
You
them.
go for the throat too.
The throat's good too.
Yeah, the jugular.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
throat punch is actually pretty efficient.
Yeah, just yeah.
right.
Oh my god!
That'll shut them up quick too. They won't
It's
be
like,
able to
what are you saying?
You drop an F-bomb, you're getting the throat punch.
Yeah. So I hope that the next Travis Rice is openly gay. That would rule.
Straight up.
That would be real.
Yeah, and on the side of like dudes, it's like I've had a really close friend tell me and came out to me, and it was like I literally cried tears of joy. It's like maybe if they're tripping, it's like most likely if you got good friends and they're your friends, they're gonna be fucking stoked.
If
you
they're
know?
not stoked,
And
fuck them. They're
if
not
they're
your
not
friends.
stoked, fuck them. They're not your
Yeah.
friends.
'Cause
Exactly.
You should be able to live your life how you want to
Yeah,
live your life, and if you
100%.
can't, that's fucked.
100%.
Yeah.
And like, and that's something
Couldn't
to be said-
imagine trying to struggle with that.
Yeah.
No, that's something to be said too. Like, whenever you hit the age of like 25, look the fuck around, figure out who your friends are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just straight up, take a good hard look around and be like, I can count on you. I can count on you. And if any of those people have any reservations about your sexuality or your gender, those aren't your friends.
Yeah.
You can find new ones.
Exactly.
And give them a little throat punch, dude.
Quick throw.
We're gonna say violence is not the answer. We should never be hitting people. But just real quick, you can maybe they
Throw
might
punch.
deserve it.
Okay, let's keep going about we're gonna do another I'm liking this word pivot.
Pivot.
We're gonna do a pivot.
We're bouncing.
We're
This
pivoting
is
back.
Diesel's new hot word on
Yeah,
the set.
it's a new hot word in the set.
Everyone pivot.
Should we do a quick
Yeah, do we
musical
need to
chairs too?
We could absolutely. We can do some musical chairs. I'll put the song back on. It'll be great. Let's talk about United Slopes of America, the project. Shit was dope. Let's go.
Oh, so long ago.
I know.
So long ago. That was fun. You know, and that was a passion project, a creative endeavor where
Explain it to the people that aren't familiar.
all right. So for the viewers who don't know what United Slopes is, it was a very underfunded documentary escapade in a way where I did this huge pitch to like some brands where I'm like, I'm going to drive to every ski resort in the United States of America, you know, and like, that's insane. There was like 425 or
Every.
something. Yeah.
That's
Like, and this
insane.
was like, but I did all the research and I
Yeah.
made this insane pitch deck and I'm like, it'll take 4 years. I got this.
Yeah.
And just like deep down, it was this obsession. You know, I kind of went off on a rant earlier about the obsession of like cataloging feelings and emotions and just kind of getting these stories for validity. And in a way, like I've fallen in love with snowboarding. I'm in love with snowboarding. And I had such bad, I mean, they could have been way worse, but I personally had these injuries that weren't allowing me to come back with the fierceness that I wanted for filming video parts. So in my mind, I was just like, I love telling stories. Let's tell some fucking stories. And then I hate branded content. So I've been having a huge issue with just the way that things are created and how they were kind of like shoved down our throats, where in my mind, it's super transparent when it's an ad. Like, I'm just like, I can see fucking straight through it. That's an ad. This isn't organic. This isn't real. This is fabricated. You guys are pushing. You're pulling for this story. So with United Slopes, the whole deal was like, I just want to drive around and hopefully meet people at these places and interview them about snowboarding and how it makes you feel, and then also make it a little educational. Like, hopefully people learn the elevation if they read the fine print on the episodes, whatever. It was a lot of work. I mean, like, how hard it is to like do a web series. And so like this web series where it's just like me and one other kid who I have to like be with nonstop, just like I didn't understand what it was until we did it. And then we did it for the second year, and that was just like too much. It was a little too crazy.
Crazy, like unbearable workload, I'd imagine, and unrealistic. Like the amount of days there's snow, the amount of resorts, and like. But I think that what's really cool is we obsess about filming these video parts, which 90% of the snowboard population is never gonna fucking slingshot into a down bar behind a fucking rubber bungee. But they can relate to going to all these different little resorts, and you going to some little East bumfuck town and doing a tail press that's 12 o'clock boys on the down bar is going to get some people psyched. And there is like, I think that was a cool endeavor.
It's funny. I still get fan mail.
Yeah, it's
really
way more relatable.
United Slopes,
No way.
And
yeah.
I had no idea that it would last this long. Like we didn't get music rights. We didn't have a production team. It was just me. The first year it was me and Tyler. The second year it was me and Mark.
Yep.
And it's like it's a lot of heavy lifting, but the outcome, like, by no means is it like the best web series ever. But it's just like you look at like the comparison one where like Eddie Wall went to all the resorts and like rated the resorts, and I'm just like, dude, you are spewing bullshit at the audience right now. Like, it's like the difference of like Anthony Bourdain or like some really shitty travel dude.
Or Guy Fieri, though. But
yeah, let's go Anthony Bourdain versus Guy Fieri. Like where I'm like, I could do the Anthony Bourdain thing a little bit,
Yeah.
And it was just an idea, and like that was the beauty of it too, like to just have an idea, and like I remember I pitched the name to Bridges. And the amount of times I would just hit up Pat all the time.
Yeah.
Where I'd be like, what about this? What about this? What about this name? What about this idea? What about this project? And he's just like, nope.
Well, a lot of disgruntled. Nope. You may have actually swallowed a
Bridges
microphone.
just like swallows his cigarette. I gotta go. This isn't gonna work.
There's a cat in his throat,
The cat.
But there's something to be said about just having an idea and being like, who gets to do that? Where you're like, I have this idea. Let's make it something.
Hey, you guys need to give me a bunch of money. I'm gonna go drive around to a bunch of resorts. You're gonna want it. You're gonna want in on this. You're definitely, because you're gonna get a good ROI for sure. It's like, no, but that's what's beautiful about what we do. It's awesome.
No, it's sick. I mean,
And you're still getting views and stuff, huh?
I haven't checked. I haven't checked
But
the
if you're
views or
still
anything.
getting mail, you're
still
obviously
getting
still
mail.
getting views,
We're
Yeah.
gonna link this in the description of the podcast or
Big
the video.
links.
So just if you're interested, it'll be in there.
Check out United Slopes. It's great.
And we're gonna do another pivot for the sake of time. Let's talk about the big project, the Des project, Fait, Accompli. Fucking banger.
I never even knew how to say it proper.
And where did the name come from? A lot of
Where'd the
questions.
name come from?
A lot of questions.
Name Bridges actually figured out.
Okay.
I was gonna call it Tunnel Vision.
Okay.
A lot of people have a hard time with the poetry in it. They all think I'm blind, which I actually don't mind. I think it's really cool.
Oh, so that's why you wanted to go tunnel vision?
Yeah,
That's tight.
because it's just like the metaphor of just
Yeah.
kind of how like we live our lives, or how I've been living my life in a very intense kind of like,
Yeah.
one thing matters. I've committed my entire life to snowboarding. Like there's a whole wide world out there, whatever. So yeah, Fait was bouncing off of the failed United Slopes, where I tried to do United Slopes. I was hurt. My back was super fucked up. I kind of went through hell with my back, and then got that all fixed, so then my back was good at the last, the summer going into Fait. And Mark was just kind of like, and I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm not finishing editing United Slopes. There is too much footage. This is too much work. I'm not getting paid. Like, all this shit. And I'm just like, because there was one more episode that we never even put out, and it was like falling around Stacks at Snowboard, and it was so much cool shit. I got all these old photos of Stacks, and like his mom. I feel so bad that it never came out. I like interviewed his dad and his mom.
They're
like
legends.
the interview, like they sat down with us, and like we got so much shit, and it just came down to Mark being like, I quit, and I was just like, I can't pay him, so he can quit. And we're roommates, so we like live together. And he's in his room. You sure you want to quit? Fuck you! All right. And I'm just like, what if we make a movie? okay.
No way, that's literally how it went down.
Basically.
So sick.
So and
From different rooms in the house.
Yeah, and see, Mark too was like he wasn't he didn't know what he was doing. Like I stole him from High Cascade basically, and he's just kind of turned into this really talented photographer and filmer. So getting him to sign on to United Slopes, I just sat him down and was just like, you need to quit your job. You work for camp. That sucks. We got to go. And he was just like, okay, like I'll quit. And so he quit, and then he worked for me, and whatever, it worked out. And then when I started doing Fait, honestly, it was all his idea in a way. Like he was just he's very core, very skateboarder, and was just like, sick of this documentary bullshit. Like, you haven't filmed like a trick in a while. You should film a trick. Like, why don't you just film a sick video part? Like, let's just make a movie. And I was just like, yeah, like he planted the seed. I thought about it. And for me, it was this kind of like, I want to make kind of like an opus, you know, like I've always wanted to make an art film. It turned into an art film. And then, I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's not my favorite project I've ever done. But the fact that I made it, super proud of myself, super proud of Mark, super thankful for all the people who I got to film with while filming for it. But it was just, once again, like another idea and just kind of like challenging myself to like, can I make something? Mm-hmm. And like, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to suck, you know? And like, even if it doesn't suck, maybe a couple people will be inspired, or maybe I'll figure out another path. Yeah. You know, it's just this, it's disregard for the fear of failure in a way, like where in the back of my mind, everything I make sucks. So I'm just straight up like, I can't make anything worse than this. Might as well keep making shit because fuck it. And yeah, I'm really appreciative for the opportunity I had to make Fait, you know, where like 32 came in and sponsored it, and Solomon sponsored it, and they just were like, do whatever you want. You know, and Bridges was really gracious with so much information where, like, he taught me how to get music rights. He taught me how to navigate just kind of being another producer on a more serious level than I was with United Slopes. And just kind of fallen into these roles where I wouldn't have, like, I can't pay for this experience. You know, I straight up can't pay for the experience. And it's just like to get to make something for my friends to enjoy, to showcase other people who might not have a limelight on them, you know? Like, I think about Vinny all the time. Like, fuck, he's one of my favorite snowboarders. He's so fucking sick. And it's just like, he can't film. Like, and it's just like, that was my favorite thing, was to be in Minnesota and just like, we're filming Vinny. Like, that was it.
Yeah, he had some dope clips.
Yeah, it was the sickest part of the whole fucking year. And Holst, man. See, Holst has been like the sickest thing to watch, where I like, when I was filming United Slopes, he knew me vaguely from working at the ice cream stand. I knew him because he was the crazy redheaded guy. He sends me a DM when I'm filming for United Slopes. Hey, I really like United Slopes. Like, do you think you'll come to any Oregon resorts? And I'm like, no, definitely not. Like, we're doing all of Tahoe. And he's like, oh, that's a bummer. And I was like, you want to come out? You can stay in the camper. I don't fucking care. Shows up the next week. Didn't leave us for a month.
What a legend.
It was so sick. And it was just like, I've always had this hunch about Holst where, like, I'm such a big believer in, like, the right person. You know, we're like, I think in snowboarding there's a lot of fucking people who just aren't the right people. They just get to do it. And like no shade at them or anything. Like, I'm just kind of like, you're not my type. We're like, we kind of grind and we love this shit. Like, our vacation isn't going to Bali. Our vacation is going to Hood. You know, like, I there's just like this certain type of breed, and like I found that in Holst, and like for the last 5 years, it's been such a fucking treat. And like this year, he filmed with us for the Snowboarder Mag movie, and I swear to God, it's straight up fucking Eminem and 8 Mile.
So sick. Yes. He was kind of putting on this winter.
Yeah, he showed up.
Yeah,
he's hungry, right?
Yeah, and I mean, all the kids showed up. Like Dylan showed up, Denver showed up, Jill showed up, like always. Nerve is fucking amazing. Phil, insane. Like, small ass crew, different type of video. Ted's making it. Like, shit.
What's the name of the project?
Tangle.
Yeah, I knew the name, but
you knew the name.
I don't
Tangle.
want anyone thinking I don't know the name.
Snowboarder magazine. Snowboard.
I get
movie.
another call from Bridges if you think I didn't know,
I know.
the name of the.
His ears are just ringing. It's Tangle. There's no T.
Dude, I think, talking about Jeff Holst, I'm thinking about my extended group of people I know in snowboarding. I don't know if there's a person that fucking loves, like, purely loves snowboarding through his, like, fucking core. Like, that motherfucker loves this shit.
He's trying to get all the VHS stuff digital right now, just for the sake of the sake of being a
For the
historian.
sake of it, or
for the steak, he wants to eat
like
steak.
a T-bone steak?
He
or-
also wants
Filet.
to be on Real Snow next year. So if anyone listening
Wow.
can set that
we
up,
got to make that happen.
Holtz is down.
Yo, whoever's got the Real Snow Connect, hit up the boy Jeff Holtz. I dare you.
I got a guy.
That would be
He
so
wants in. He
sick.
told me that about a month ago.
That's awesome.
Dude, he'd die for
He
it.
wants in.
Some people would die for the pussy. Holtz will die for the video part.
I'll tell you what, I'm ready to pull some buns for Jeff Holtz when that time comes. Let's go.
I want to be there. I want to be there too, man. I want to be there too.
It's pretty cool. And then also, I'm circling back because I was hearing all this shit.
Are we
you're
going to
saying.
pivot again?
We can pivot
We're gonna
again.
do a pivot.
Let's do another pivot.
We're doing another pivot. But like, when you're talking about all these different projects and finding the one, it's like, I just call it just throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? That's
True.
all it is. That's all it is. And I know that wasn't super important, but I was just bursting at the seams to say that.
Back to Tangle, though, you're going to be the art director.
Oh, yeah.
Correct?
Lightly.
Evolution.
Lightly.
Lightly.
Ted and I are working pretty heavily together.
yeah, I could see
I got to partner it with an internship for the art degree I'm getting. So, quote unquote, art director, get to do quite a few things, but just really collaborating with Ted.
Yeah.
I'm
After he films it, I'm sure he has a lot of input he wants to get. But
No, totally. And he's a great visionary. And I think I get to counteract a lot of his
Yeah.
habits and he gets to counteract a lot of my habits. And for me, like I think our jobs with creating a snowboard film is just to make everybody look good.
yeah, and
You
there's
know?
going to be ads and internet ads and
Yeah.
just with snowboarders. So there's going to be a lot of stuff for you to weigh in on.
So much stuff. And that's
dope.
the thing, like we're providing the majority of our own content, even photo wise this
That's
year.
sick.
So it's like, it's exciting. Ted and I halfway through filming in Minnesota, Ted's just like, do I go get a Mark V? Or Mark, what is it? Yeah,
You
it's
got
Mark V.
Yeah, you got a Canon.
Yeah, he's just like, fuck it, just dropping money, get the camera,
To have a photo camera.
because we were shooting film all year, so we were shooting film on this like outdated Canon
Yeah.
that like actually was super reliable, and we had the good lenses. So I'm just shooting all these fucked up fish photos of Phil basically, but I'm like, oh my god, I hope it turned out. It's on film.
Yeah.
feeling like Andy Wright in fucking 1994.
Yeah.
but like it really
Sick.
like, and we're just like, fuck it, we like the film, and then we're like, all right, we just got to get a digital camera. Like, fuck it.
He just bought one.
Ted did,
So
yeah.
dope.
Yeah, he comes through. He always comes through with the gear. Like, I don't have the type of funds, but he's always just like, we did it.
I know he seems to always figure that out, get what's needed.
Fuck, we talked about your insane snowboard career, Women's Rider of the Year, Video Part of the Year multiple times, Snowboarder Mag cover. Then you do your own United Slopes, and you do Fait, Accompli, and you're the art director for the new one, which is like really like it's 50% women, 50% men, which we didn't even really talk about, right? Is that
Yeah,
the
that was
ratio?
something that I really pushed for.
Yeah.
And it's not 100%, but going into the winter, I've just been trying to do this thing, and it's just like, anybody listening, any of my peers listening, you want to fucking make an all-women snowboard video? Let's go. I'm down. For some reason, it's so hard to like, it's like fucking pulling teeth right now, where just like everyone's got the sickest shit going on and the sickest opportunities, so it's like not the right time.
Yep.
But if there ever is a time, hit me up. I would love to film it. I would love to direct it. I'd love to be there. You
Yeah.
know, and that's the thing too. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be fucking filming, but
Yeah.
it's just, I really wanted to have a film with equal representation, because like right now we're in these times where everyone wants equality. We got the women's movement. We want I don't like equal pay. I have a more difficult time within our industry. I don't fully believe that women should get paid. People should be paid on their merits. You know, you should get the amount that you need to do your job. So, and gender should not be an issue in this. It should have nothing to do with how much you're paid, obviously. So I was just with doing the film this year, we weren't sure what it was going to be, and I didn't even know what it was going to be. I just knew that I wanted to film with Jill. And I was just like, Jill to me is like the sickest up and comer right now, who has so much talent on a board. And I'm just like, fuck yeah. Like, I am about this because it is about the snowboarding, and just kind of like saw that spark in Nirvana too. And like, I see that spark in a lot of women, honestly, where I'm just like, fuck, it would be so sick to just get on a project together. But because of brands, it's fucking impossible. Like, I'm never going to get to film with like the sick ass people who I want to film with. I don't ride for the same brands as a lot of women, so I'm just not going to get the opportunity to film with them. So this year I was like, I really want it to be at least half girls and half guys. It ended up with just me, Jill, and Nerf, and 5 guys. So it's not even close. I mean, it's kind of close to half, but it's just like,
It's a good race.
But just having the intention.
Yeah, three girls that are bosses is pretty dope.
Yeah. And I think just walking into it and being like, no matter what, there's at least 3 girls in it, and let's fill these slots, just like having the intention to not just pick like the absolute sickest guys, and it's just like some people might say like, oh, well, that's like not fair to the audience, or it's not the sickest boarding, or it's not the best investment. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, people show up when they're provided an opportunity. The least you can do is provide an opportunity. And that's my goal, is I'm always pushing towards trying to at least provide opportunity for people. And it's usually behind the scenes too. Like, that was just a bunch of information where it's like, no one would hear about that.
Yeah, they don't know you're directing,
Yeah.
and you're in the studio making titles, and you're picking the roster and all that.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's shit that I'm really invested in, I really care about, and I hope other people, I just hope that this type of shit translates to the youth, and like I said, we're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that might be a first. Sorry to interrupt you, bud. That might be a first in men being in a woman-directed film in snowboarding.
well, Ted's directing it technically, but
Ted's-
no, actually, what's funny is like,
Yeah.
all I know is that whenever I was like, we're doing this movie, there's gonna be a lot of girls in it, and I want the equal amount of guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, it might have been the first thing where I was like, all right, the girls are in, now let's pick the guys.
Yeah.
And picking the guys was fun.
Dude, Denver, Dylan, those kids are insane, man.
Incredible snowboarders. But that's the thing too. Like the initial meeting I had with Bridges, and Bridges is like, who do you want to work with? Who do you want to film with? And I'm like, if Holtz isn't in the movie, I'm not doing it.
Wow, ultimatum.
That's
Straight
so
up.
sick. And
Just-
Ted's probably thinking that in the back of his head too. He
100%.
brings Holtz anyways.
Yeah, 100%.
He would have brought him either way.
He would have been.
wasn't-
He would have been in it either way,
Yeah.
for sure. But like, that's just something for me where like I get how this shit works. I understand how the dollars kind of get filtered around, and I also know that there's a lot of room to fuck with shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I another thing with like the videos of snowboard films, like it would always be video crews and just like sponsor buy-ins, and not necessarily like, it kind of stopped being like really close friends, where some brands are really lucky where they have really good friends on their team, like Vans, like they're all the best friends, so they get to create these incredible films because they're all best friends, or at least that's how the public perceives it. For the most part, like you look at any other video project, it's buy-ins, especially for snowboarder mag films. It's always
explain that for the listener that doesn't understand what that is.
So the way that a snowboard film is structured, kids get chosen to be in the film based off of how much money they can bring to the table, dictated through their sponsors. So of course there's always a list of really talented snowboarders, but then there's always a list of like the cash cows. Cash cows are just kids who have sponsors with dollars, usually some sort of energy drink sponsor or someone who can like pay to play, and all of that's great. It provides opportunities for the kids. And I'm not saying that the snowboarders are undeserving of the opportunity. All that I'm saying is the way that those films are structured provides for a less dynamic filming environment because they're getting to know each other, and I think, like, look at VG, like the first year of VG, they were all kind of homies, but then as VG aged, those people became better friends, and then it provided for some really cool imagery, because these people were all really, really tight, and it's just the way shit's structured. And for me, I'm always down to just try a different formula. Like, I fucking hate the formulas. I think it's really cool to just like fucking switch it up. And so for me, I'm just like, I don't care if it's not going to make money. It's not going to make money. It's a snowboard film.
Let Bridges worry about that part.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Pat is such a believer, man.
He is.
He loves it, and he's such a fan, and he will bend over backwards to make this shit still work. So anyone out there who loves talking shit on Bridges and loves talking shit on Snowboarder Magazine, good for you, but fuck you, because you don't actually understand it. And probably at one point in time, your career was on the line, or your career benefited from the support that like Pat was able to provide just from being passionate about it.
Yeah, he is amazing, and the shit he's done for me in the past like 23 years, it's insane.
You've worked
and for snowboarding.
Yeah, you've worked for him.
I wrote Gigi's On Deck in 1993.
That's incredible.
Or 94 or something. I was a writer, and Pat was the one who hired me, taking care of me ever since.
Yeah.
taken care of snowboarding ever since.
Insane.
Yeah.
And then circling back to your project, it's like you look at the group of people in it. It's like, you know, you have Bridges and then producing, and then Ted and yourself and Holst. It's like, talk about people that really, really give a shit about snowboarding. Tangled. I'm excited. I'm excited to like. I'm excited to watch it. It's cool. It's gonna be cool.
It's
It'll
gonna.
be cool.
I mean, I just hope. I just hope it's. Yeah, I hope that people like it, and I think all the kids hope that, because that's the thing too. It's like it's a roster of just like no one really knows who Dylan Okarowski is yet. No one really knows who Denver Orr is yet. Like, I feel like Nirvana's been filming for a while, but this is going to be her best footage that she's put out to
I
date.
heard she's sitting on a
She's
nice stack.
sitting on a really cool stack, and like Jill just provides. You know, the queen shows up, she provides, and it's just shit where like I loved working with kids who just started really filming, and it was so fun. It's such a treat, and they're passionate.
Yeah,
they got the fire. They got the vinegar, the juice.
It's my favorite too. They're just so excited.
Yeah. I heard Brian Fox describe it once. It's like when you get an old puppy that's about to die, you bring the new puppies around, and it kind of gives the old puppies more life.
Yeah,
it's like when you're old, you're like I feel old, and I'm like, once I get around, like I hang out with Pat Fava, he's back 3 on to shit. I'm like, okay,
you get all hyped.
Let's go.
Let's do this. What's up?
It's a fact, and every year I get older, like one of my new friends just gets younger. Yeah, you know, I'm
same here.
Fucking 32-year-old woman just chilling with the 17-year-olds. Like I remember when I met Noah, he was like a fucking junior in high school, and I'm just like, do I need to meet your mom? Like, and I drive. Can you miss school today? Like all this shit where I'm just like, oh my god. Like,
I went to Finland with Coop, who's 17.
Yeah.
Just like, should I call your parents?
Yeah. It's like, no.
Can I be around right now with what you guys are doing? This is wild.
Yeah.
Revolving door of fountain of youth.
Dude,
And then it turns out
sick.
Coop's like a grandfather in his head,
Yes.
basically. He's like the oldest, wisest man on the crew, but he's 17.
Yeah. No.
18 now, probably.
Shouts to Coop. What a ledge.
Damn, son,
All
where'd you
right,
find
well,
this?
We've been going for a while.
We can
I think
stop.
it's time. What I need to get into, I got a question I want to ask you before we wrap this thing up, and that is, who's the most inspirational person in your life?
Right now?
Sure. Now.
I mean,
Whenever.
just like put it all together or whatever. Like, who would you just consider?
For me, like classic response would be my sister, just because I'm amazed at her resilience as a woman and a mother. You know, even just like to look at, like, she's a labor and delivery nurse, her husband's a cop, you know, and it's just like shit like that is like we have totally different perspectives on life, but be able to like unconditionally love people like based off of blood and like mutual respect. You know, it's like I always find like my sister's super inspirational to me. And then I don't know. I think my Chippy.
Yeah, Chip! There we go, Chip! Ah, there we go,
Chippy
Chip!
with the shout out. I like every day I'm amazed. Like, it's so funny. Like, quarantine hits, I'm fucked, just like stranded in Chip's house, just like
True, huh?
yeah. And like I
Stuck
could have
here.
gone back to Amanda's because I was kind of renting a room there, but I didn't want to. And just like, is it cool if I'm in the space and just him just providing whatever you need? You need a paint studio here, like fucking shadowing some guy making a mural this month, and Chip's like, you gotta learn, like makes me a studio in the backyard, and I'm like, it's just I just am amazed at like how gracious he is with just like his time and his resources, and like good dude saving
Chip's
my
the
ass.
fucking best.
He's saving my ass right now. It's so sick. And he's really good at everything.
Yeah.
He teaches me, like, he taught me how to weld. He's teaching me how to make concrete look nice. He's everything. And I was always just like, oh yeah, you can kind of do stuff. But then like when I really saw it, I was just like, damn, he can do everything like by the book. This motherfucker knows his shit.
That's cool.
And then I'm just like super thankful.
Can't skate switch that good, though.
He can't.
He's going to throw that out there, huh?
I got to cut him down a little bit because he is the fucking man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been unreal, Des. Honestly, fuck. That was Buds. What do you think? Crazy
that was
combo.
insane. Great combo.
So we're trying something new out this episode for the listeners, viewers. We have 10 prints of Desiree that are shot by E-Stone, a.k.a.
Yeah.
Stony Buds. And we're going to throw them up on our website for sale. And if you want them, they're signed by Des. And on that note, we are going to wrap it up with Des. We really appreciate you guys listening. This has been an awesome convo. Des, thanks for coming and chatting with us. You got anything else you want to say? Any last words?
I mean, thanks.
That was with a heavy question mark on
Yes.
No. Just really quick. This whole day, man, it's like, fuck. Like, I had to wake up this morning. Like, I wake up and I'm just like, bomb hole. Like, I'm waking up in a bomb hole to go on the bomb hole. So it's like, I'm like I don't shower that much anymore. Straight up, just like, I had a shower. I did my hair. I fucking straight up put on war paint to go to war with you guys. I'm just like, I don't even know what it's going to be like.
I
So,
didn't even know people thought like that with him and I, these two
Couple
numbskulls.
dinguses.
Couple numbskulls.
Appreciate you.
I'm just going to say, you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, Des.
It's cool to be providing a platform for the culture and the community, and for you to ask me to be on it, I'm honored. I trip out about it. I trip out that we're friends still. Like, it's so funny to look around and just be like, we're all here. Like,
Through every season, like,
yeah.
sweet.
It's like,
Still here at this point.
Still here.
We're all still
Man,
pro
Des.
for another year at whatever you're doing.
Straight up. Exactly.
Yeah.
But enough of us talking. We appreciate you guys listening so much. We'll see you next week. Thank you guys so much.